Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Radlett. It's the London Cup here at Radlett once more this evening. Middlesex taking on Surrey, looking to make it a sixth win, 5-1 in the 6 years so far of this fixture. As you can see, it's a lovely sunny day outside. The reflections on this table make it fun as ever here in the outgrounds for Middlesex. But where Middlesex men's were playing just the other evening, it's been a couple of belting T20s so far. The women's turn tonight against the old rivals Surrey, but 5-1 it is to Middlesex over the 6 fixtures so far. Surrey bucking that trend last year at the Oval when they got their first victory on the board. Let me tell you of the teams tonight and the toss first. Middlesex have won the toss and elected to field their 11. Datani, Griffith, Carr, Miles, Marriott, Goal, Porter, Patel, Wolf and Gajipra. As for Surrey, running through their side in full in just one moment. As first, I'll keep an eye and make sure the play doesn't get underway right in front of us without missing a ball bowled. It is going to be up at the far end, I shall tell you in a moment. But first of all, Tony Warren's just sat down alongside me. Sunrisers head of cricket, regional head of cricket, apologies. How are you? Good to see you again.
I'm very well, thank you, Kevin. This is a lovely day. We've got some sunshine here at Radlett after a week of, well, shall we say, March weather.
It's going to be Katie Wolf to get us underway at the Salters Field end. Eased away into the offside first ball and no run. Running through that side for Surrey as well for this evening, which, yeah, like I say, hotly contested competition. It's hotly mainly because Middlesex have trounced Surrey so many times, Danny.
Well, I was looking through the scores when they did the preview, and I actually forgot that 2015 we started this, so there was a 5-0 lead up until last year.
Ah, nicely put away through the covers. Lovely shot, just slightly over pitched outside off and freeing up the arms. First runs, first boundary for Surrey. Off the mark here, put in by Middlesex, saying what can you find on this pitch? Early boundary found. Yeah, it's a certain Warren and Hartley double act. Went pretty well in 2015.
It was that long ago, yes. I loved bowling alongside Alex Hartley. You knew that you weren't going to be, shall we say, put under too much pressure because she was busy doing the business at the other end. So it was always great to have her on your team.
Here's Wolf's follow-up. Carr standing up to the stumps for Middlesex. Left alone outside the off stump, a little bit of a wide one, just a little bit of shape on that by the looks of it. That Surrey side, I'll give you in just one moment. In full, Capsey on strike at the moment. Those distinctive black colours of Surrey, Middlesex, and their very distinctive pink, dating back through to Breakthrough Breast Cancer, the charity that was linked up with. Oh, sharp hurt behind the stumps from Carr. The wide signal by the umpire, though. Just drifting down the leg side. Yeah, 2015. Seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
I've got a few more grey hairs than I did then, but it was this competition just a fantastic way for us to raise the profile of the women's game. And thinking back to that year, we had a number of people watching. We had Sky Sports there to do interviews.
Nice ease the way once more. Fielded at backward point, though. And no run.
And yeah, and it just allows us to put this this level of cricket on a platform that it really deserves. So we went back to the Oval last year, and in the intervening years, we've been here before. We've been to Guildford, and it's been we've been treated to some really great cricket across the years.
Yeah, magnificent venue. The Oval twice, or 3 times with last year. Radlett, Guildford, Lords, and Radlett again. Just looking for the gap there, couldn't quite find it. Capsey. Give you that side in full for Surrey now. So Capsey and Gordon, Chatley, White, Brewer, Jones, Southby, Gray, Berry, Cooper, Kerins and Gregory. Or Gregory, the 12th player. Watchfully done again into the onside by Capsey. Decent first over from Wolf, just that wide down the leg sides. Just a little bit of width outside off for the boundary as well. 5 without loss. So tell us about the summer for you so far. Strange couple of years for everybody in all formats and in all competitions and in all teams. But for the Sunrisers, obviously building something very important, very new. Lots of challenges for you as well.
Yeah, well, it's been really exciting. First and foremost, we've been able to get out and play cricket, and that's what everyone was desperate to do this year after so many frustrations of the winter. So just being able to get out there. Obviously, we're now out of the first phase of the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy and about to start our T20 campaign at the weekend, which gives the girls another platform to go out there and perform. A new format that's not been played at regional level within this structure. So everyone's really excited about getting out there, getting more cricket under their belts. We're down at Taunton on Saturday, so another first-class venue. What more can you ask for?
Great place to play. Here's Kopak. Nicely pushed back up the track and no run. Yeah, brilliant venue down at Taunton. Lovely feel at that ground, isn't it? It's such a, I mean, claustrophobic, I guess, when you're losing, but when things are going well, it's a great arena.
I'll report back next week. Hopefully we don't feel like that.
Kopak again. Onto the pads, but drifting down. Enthusiastic appeal, but Gordon survives. And yeah, this fixture, like I say, Derby, the London Cup, it's always grabbed the attention for that reason, hasn't it? And it is a nice way to just grab the extra headlines, isn't it, with the rivalry, which always means so much. One goes up in the air, chance at backward point, and held. There's the first wicket for Middlesex. Kopak strikes, and that is the end of Gordon. Flashing hard outside of the off stump and looping one up in the air to backward point. Just felt that something needed to give for Surrey there, didn't it?
It did. I suppose the T20 format always puts you under pressure as a batter when you're expected to make the most of that power play as you go out there in the first few overs, and a tight over at the beginning from Katie Wolf, backed up by Kate Kopak as well. So it's nice to see the girls putting pressure on the batters, and nerves of steel as the catch goes up in the air as well.
Capsey comes to beat a new colleague, Chatley, out in the middle. Wearing the number 20 on her back. Yeah, it's a ground that can be quick scoring, Radlett. It was a lightning quick a week ago, Tuesday I think it was, for the Middlesex men's team here. Young Blake Cullen, 19-year-old quick, really bowling quick, and it was coming nicely onto the bat though as well that evening. Watchfully played once more. Let's try and get the feel of the pace of it tonight. But it was interesting last week because the track changed from Tuesday to Thursday, whereas on Tuesday it was lightning quick. It was amazing how much the track had slowed down by Thursday.
Yeah, I think we were expecting a slightly slower wicket this week. We've seen 4 or 5 days of rain and covers on for most of the time. So to be able to come here and actually credit to the ground staff, they've given us a great platform to play cricket on under pretty challenging conditions.
They run once again. Tucks away into the onside. Yeah, it's it has at times, you know, like all club tracks, it can be a little slow and low. 2020s and list A's over the years here. It's been interesting to see how the track varies each year. That one's got away nicely down to deep backward square. Just the single taken to get Chatley off the mark.
Yeah, speaking of run scoring at this ground, I think it was our last fixture here in 2017. Still remains the highest scoring match in this competition. So
150?
150 put on the board. Natasha Miles, who's out there, who is a survivor of our first match in 2015, has put a half century on the board.
That was good memory for me because I can't read my own writing on there, so I'm glad I got 150 right. Producer and statistician claiming all the credit in the background for the research for this game. Here goes Wolf once more. 6 for 1. That's beautiful bowling. Capsey just push him outside the off stump. Again, just trying to get the feel of this track, but lovely line and length.
Yeah, again, as we say, putting pressure on the batters in this format is so important. She's put one slightly short and slightly wide, and that's gone to the ropes. So she's getting her line and length there, and with Amara behind the stumps, you're always under pressure as a batter.
Ooh, just mistimed from Capsey. And again, eyeing up that offside, she'll have felt she's missed out slightly on that one. Just looks as though she hasn't quite got the pace of the track, a little early on it. But yeah, gorgeous setting as well for this fixture, isn't it, Radlett? Lovely pavilion that was refurbed, again, which feels like yesterday. It's probably about 10, 12 years ago now. Now goes up in the air, but clears the infield. That'll be another boundary for Surrey. Second of the innings. Just pops over the boundary rope at deep backward point. And 10 without loss in the third, Surrey.
One of the great things about this ground is wherever you look, you have a tree line, you have blue sky this evening. So it's just a great setting to get out and play cricket. We're not far from London, but you do feel like you're in the countryside and you're at a really nice traditional cricket setting when you're out here.
Where you feel here in Hertfordshire pretty much depends on the traffic on your way to the ground, doesn't it?
You're so right. The train can be packed and you come here with more stress than you do when you left home.
Platoned again, not quite timed down to mid-on, just the dot ball. Patel doing the fielding. Yeah, it's quite a leisurely drive in tonight. It's a good little crowd sprinkled in, actually. Mostly under, you mentioned the tree lining, under the shade on the far side. And a match that was opened up under recreational guidelines in COVID times. All of these things we're so aware of now, aren't we? All these different standards. Oh, that's nicely played, coming down towards us. First real bit of 2020 imagination from the batter, and that was scooped away beautifully just to the side of us. Chipra comes to collect it over the boundary rope, 14 without loss, and that suggests that Capsey is now starting to get a feel of the pace of things.
Yeah, it shows how important it is to really stick to that probing line and length. You went a little bit leggish there, and it gave Capsey the chance to get inside the line and beat the infield. So yeah, there's some really dangerous players here. Look, all the way through the lineup, there are batters that can punish you.
Oh, swing and a miss. To drive away into that offside. Sharp work again behind the stumps from Carr, and 14 without loss at the end of the third. Just Gordon. 14 for 1. Gordon to full, and Kopak with the wicket. So yeah, tell us about the year for the Sunrisers this year.
Yeah, well, we've obviously got partway through the season now. We've amassed a squad that are developing with every game. They're young, they're inexperienced. Kate Kopak, who's just coming on to bowl here, has had her first taste of regional cricket in the last few weeks. Has bowled absolutely brilliantly and just put some pressure in at the top of the order that we might have been missing in previous weeks. So it's just a huge opportunity for these girls who may not have played at this level before. We're not a team of stars, but we're a team of really exciting, really capable cricketers. So our hopes are obviously there that as we grow throughout the season, we'll start to gain more experience, get a bit of confidence, a bit of belief, and like I say, going into the T20 format, we're really excited about what players like Kate can do.
Big appeal and gone. Second over, second wicket for Kopak. And Surrey 2 down in the fourth. Good start here by Middlesex. Really strong start. And yes, big appeal going up. It was confident from from Middlesex, and very little doubt at all as Shatley makes her way back. And 2 down in the fourth. A really, really good start. Expecting White in at 4 for Surrey. But 14 for 2 it is, yeah. Confident appeal. Umpire wasted a little time in putting his hand up there.
Yeah, and one of the strengths that we've seen from Kate over the last few weeks is she does really attack those stumps. She doesn't give you a huge amount of width. Yes, you're going to sometimes miss them on both sides, but she's consistent. She puts you under pressure, and that's the kind of ball that she can bowl that really can have an impact on the game early on. So it's just exciting to see someone like Kate, who maybe, I'm pretty certain if you asked her a few months ago, wouldn't think she was going to be playing regional cricket. She's grabbed that opportunity, and you can see the confidence that she's got as she runs into bowl here.
White it is, new batter. So low full toss put away, down to deep backward square. No chance for Wolf to get across to that one. And off the mark, first ball. White's 18 for 2. That step up's the key, isn't it? And it's a word that sometimes is met with a bit of resistance, elite, because it's as though it's to play down another level. But increasing the level that you play at really does help the development of a player.
Yeah, it does, and it's you got someone like Kirsty that's played at that level before. She's come in first ball, you offer her something loose, and she's going to put it away, and that's the punishment that you get as you step up the levels. You have no leeway.
Just a tad short on that one, not quite the width for White to really be able to free up her arms and get that one away. Pretty sure I've got it down as 18 for 2, unless the scoreboard is deceiving me massively. But this is a good start here for Middlesex. Put right up there once more. Solidly pushed back by White. Yeah, that step up, it's not for everybody, is it? But crucially for most, that's the pathway, isn't it? A development pathway to improve standards and skills.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things we've actually seen is they're now under pressure to perform. So it's not just stepping up your skills, it's stepping up the way you prepare for games.
Just looking to put that right up there in the block hole, but over pitched into a full toss, and that's going to pop away. 3 giving chase in the offside, but driven square. Just with a little bit of width, the full toss as well. 4 more, 18. 22 indeed for 2 now in the 4th. Just straying slightly with the line on it, and again the full toss as well, looking to go for the block hole. Right back on the spot there, next ball. Lovely finish to the over. 22 for 2. It's the end of the 4th here on the Middlesex Live enhanced stream, and a couple of wickets for Kopak, picking up Gordon and Chatley. They'll be doubling that over, and Middlesex be very, very happy with the opening 4 overs here.
Absolutely, and it's a format Middlesex haven't played much as a group together in the last 12 months. So it's a well, they certainly haven't played in the last few weeks. They played a few rain-affected games in May, as most people did at that time of year. So actually just trying to cement your team and work out where people fit within your game plans is a challenge. Like Kate Kopak wasn't opening the bowling at that time. She's put her hand up and she's taken 2 wickets today. So it's, as you say, about the step up. But this level's so important as well, because this is the level where players prove their put their hands up for selection at Sunrisers or regional level.
Right up into the block hole, first ball from goal. Driven away into the offside by Capsey. Cover doing the fielding there, no run. So just a couple of overs to start up for Katie Wolf. Goal now with the 5th over of the innings. Eased away once more. And perhaps you'll be feeling a little bit the pressure out there at the moment to just stay there in the power play, stay there and build a foundation for this innings after a couple of cheap ones.
Yeah, it's a key partnership for these guys. Their experience, they've played at this level before, and Surrey will be looking at them to score a bulk of their runs.
Lovely shot, that one. Put away in between cover and mid-off for 4, 26 for 2. And yeah, indeed, it's one of those positions in a power play, isn't it? We see so often, not to concede too many wickets, even though you're desperately chasing those runs. because it can go horribly wrong into a mess in the power play and the rest of the inning struggles to recover. Oh, that one just gets away down the leg side. 2 run as the umpire signals wides. Just squirted away low underneath those gloves of Carr. Standing up, difficult for her. Comes to have a chat with Naomi Tatani, the skipper. Looking for that block hole delivery again. Turned into a full toss. They managed to take in 2 out to deep mid wicket. 31 for 2. Now Surrey. Yeah, there's a lovely stat a couple of years back that went around about power plays. Teams that lose 3 or more wickets in a power play lose 90% of the games. That's up in the air and taken. Tatani with the catch at cover. 31 for 3. And a key wicket for Middlesex. As goal strikes in her first over. And 19 ratcheted up for Capsey. But no more. Again, a 3rd wicket in the power play. Just mentioned it the ball before.
We will test your stat there and see how the game pans out. And sometimes you forget how long 20 overs actually is, and that you desperately chase the game in those first 6 overs, and rue some of the decisions that you make when you want to be going bigger at the back end. So, yeah, we'll see how it pans out. There's obviously a lot of depth in the batting order and opportunities for players to maybe just get themselves in a bit now and see where they're at when they get to the 12th, 14th, 16th over before they go too big. But obviously Middlesex have put a huge amount of pressure on them. They've not given them a huge amount to get their hands through. To credit the batters, when they have been there, they have. So you'd look at 31 on the board, you'd be quite happy. The 3 down, possibly not at the moment.
Brewer on strike. Solids once again from goal right onto that off stump. Brewer taking the patient option, and certainly Surrey will have to now. 31 for 3 it is at the end of the 5th. 9 off the over, but crucially that wicket of Capsey. And Middlesex feel pretty happy with their decision. Again, that decision to field first, we were talking about, I think with Radlett, possibly more than any other of the Middlesex outgrounds. I've noticed this is one where you can get a real variation in the pitch. And that's not in any way to say that that's a criticism of it. It just is a real, genuine variation each year in terms of the pace, in terms of the bounce. And spinners have had their go over the years here as well.
Yeah, I'm never going to understand the art of cricket groundsmanship, to be totally honest. But like you say, you never really know what a good score might be, and I can see exactly why Naomi wanted to put them in when she won the toss today. But it's had covers on for a good few days. That does lead to a question mark in your mind as to what the pace might be, and it's obviously a decision that so far has paid off really well for her and her team.
Here's the skipper with the ball. And the leg side first up. Sharp work by Carr. Always difficult standing up in any form of cricket, isn't it? Especially T20. Such a flurry of action.
Yeah, and Amara's been keeping brilliantly this year. It's just a testament again to the new structure we have, that she's had that time over the winter to really put some work in.
Oh, just bobbles up. To get through for a couple. White moves to 10 into double figures. The other nature of the outgrounds, as we all know, even from club level, it's the bobble in the pitch. Saw a few nasty ones here last week.
Yeah, it tests your skills on all levels, doesn't it? You're focusing on where you're putting the ball, because you don't get away with anything as a bowler, and then as a fielder you've also got to be right on it and make sure you're getting your body behind the ball.
Ooh, wide signals angled across from Titani. Thought the umpire was going to let that one go. We're not quite at the perfect angle to see the line across the batsman of where it was. Carr interestingly standing back now, though.
It hopefully gives Naomi a bit of freedom to really attack those stumps now. Give her the backing that she can get a bit fuller.
Oh, just a little dabble through. Nice pace on that one from Titani. And yeah, the dabble from White, but no contact. It's good pace and bounce on that one, though. Which again, as you say, the suspicion was it was going to be slightly slower this week, but
yeah, as you say, Thursday had slowed up from earlier last week, hadn't it? So another week of rain. The suspicion is, but it's also dried out quite considerably in the few hours that we've been at the ground.
A lovely ball again from Titani. And good across White. Yeah, it's up on a mound, isn't it? The square here. You can't see the knees, indeed, of the fielders at the far end. And they're at the opposite end of the ground. That's how pronounced the mound in the middle is, which can certainly dry it out quickly. Eased away, but solid over. This from Titani. Be happy with her start, just the 4 off it so far. And last at the power play, as I say, for Surrey, it's a position now where you can't really gamble any more wickets, chasing runs at this point. It's about accumulation and building, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll be wanting to put a partnership together here and give themselves a platform to go at the back end.
Just looking for the gap, couldn't quite find it, not timed. And fielded comfortably in between cover and mid-off. Most of the runs have come square of the wicket so far, haven't they? Not too much down the ground just yet. Oh, somebody on the wander behind Titani. Always, especially at outgrounds, more so than ever.
This is the problem when you let spectators in, isn't it?
I'm just hoping it's not my kids. Nicely played once more, nicely bowled. Tight stuff from Titani. Just 4 off the over to end the power play. Middlesex putting Surrey in. And the visitors 35 for 3, losing Capsey, Gordon and Chatley. White and Brewer looking to rebuild. Brewer yet to get off the mark. 10 for White. And yeah, power play that I think Middlesex with those 3 wickets will be absolutely delighted.
It's exactly what you'd want from your opening bowlers, to put the pressure on, make them take the game to you and capitalise on any mistakes that they make. So I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it's a great platform for the spinners now to come on and set the game up for later on. So I think the bowlers can take a lot of credit, as you say. It's not an easy ground to bowl on, uphill from both ends. So there's never going to be too much of a fight over who gets what end. But you have to get used to running up there and how it feels to land. So it's not that easy to come in straight away and hit the areas that you want to hit.
Titani orchestrating the field. First over for Gajipra. Salters field ends. Glorious scenes here. The puffy clouds away in the distance over the back of the Salters field. Nice ball first up, just eased away into the offside by Brewer. Oh, and gone. Well, Gajipra was surprised by it. All the noise you'd have heard was coming from Carr. And a 4th wicket for Middlesex. Back goes White, and this is a tough and sticky start now for Surrey, who are going to have to be very careful. My apologies, Brewer on her way back. They're going to have to be very, very careful here now, Surrey.
It was great work back there from Amara. She didn't have much time to take the bails off on that occasion, and as you say, the change of pace has worked a treat, bringing Gajipra on and challenging the batters to really make something happen. She looked to come down the wicket, didn't get anything on it, and Carr was waiting to take the stumps off. But it's as a batting team, you never want to be in this situation. You now have to look at your game plan and go again. But that said, you've got Kirsty White, who's very experienced, and Kirsty can take a game away from you in a short period of time. So Middlesex have to keep being careful, keep doing the job they have with the ball so far.
3 ducks in the Surrey innings so far. Jones, the new batsman. Nice contact first ball. Tani doing the fielding. You can see the busy pavilion in the background there. Scorers up on the top. Nice bit of flight on that, right under the nose of the batter. It was a lovely bit of flight. Just having to get the pace of it once more, and this is the problem with the regular fall of wickets, isn't it? And trying to keep somebody in, somebody who can just become accustomed to the pitch. Wicket maiden, the 7th for Middlesex. Cracking first over from Gajipra there, picking up the wicket of Brewer. Sharp work, you say, from Carr behind the stumps. Is that hand sanitising break? Run out to the middle. Then over late on that one. Every 6, isn't it, usually? That's why I was confused by it after the 7th. But brilliant start this now from Middlesex, and 35 for 4. Well, we said 35 for 3 after the 6. Middlesex would have taken that at the start. They'd have sure taken this.
They definitely would have, and a rarity to see a wicket maiden bowled in T20 cricket. But it was built on the platform the opening bowlers put on there for her. So really good to see her coming in, bowling on that spot straight away, really putting them under pressure. Look, Kirsty White and Hannah Jones are again really experienced cricketers who can build this partnership. Their game plan is just going to have to be different now to what it might have been when they first walked out there 7 overs ago.
Tani will take a second over from the pavilion end. Struck nicely, backward a point. Field set back and bisecting the deep points. And the fielder at third. It's 39 for 4 and welcome runs for Surrey. The ball just angled across, allowing that freedom to free up the hands on that one.
Width really is anything a batter loves to see come down, and Kirsty White's not going to miss out on a delivery like that.
Nothing scored off the stumps yet in this game. I mentioned not much down the grounds. Again, line and length from Tani. Defended by White. But yeah, nothing I can think of at all scored off the stumps, actually. It's only been anything with a bit of width.
Yeah, definitely, and Tani followed up that slightly wider ball with the perfect comeback to put her back on the back foot and defending. So if you attack the stumps on a slowish wicket, it's so hard to get away.
There is just that little bit of width on that one. Just be a single though. That'll bring Jones on to strike. Just 2 out on the offside, points in third. Long leg, deep square back on the onside. Nice pace angled across again. Where Jones will feel she missed out on that one slightly. Again, yeah, throwing the hands at it.
She definitely tried to get that one through the gap on the offside, but it's difficult with your left hander coming across you when it just keeps going away. It's so hard to catch up with it. So Naomi hopefully will bring it a little bit straighter here and put her under a bit more pressure.
Quick single just in front of backward point. The pressure on the field. It's well bowled, well played, well run. Just checking where I've lost a fielder. I'm sure I have lost one somewhere. 4 on the ropes. Yeah, I'm right. 4 on the ropes and 5 up. A bit of shape on that one from Datani. Snipping back in and taken low behind the stumps by Carr. 41 for 4 it is. It's the end of the 8th here on the Middlesex Live's enhanced stream. The London Cup, which Middlesex are 5-1 ahead against the old rivals at the moment. So, yeah, the Oval the first couple of years. To go 2-0 up at the Oval as well must have been quite the feeling.
Yeah, it's always nice to put one over on the local rivals, but to do it on their home ground is even better. And then to be able to come back and keep winning in subsequent years, as the games moved around, showed a lot of skill from the girls.
Kajipa with her second over. Lovely flight so far at the moment, nothing at all for the batters to get away. Little use of the feet. First one to do so far for Surrey, just a single down too long on, but nice use of the feet from Jones, and that's what Surrey are going to have to do to just find a way to manipulate these runs at the moment and keep that scoreboard ticking.
Yeah, the field is slightly more spread than it was before, so an opportunity to work a few singles around. Say Hannah Jones deciding that it's time to use her feet and put some pressure back on the bowler.
Onto the pads, but you'd fancy drifting down. Sharp from Carr behind the stumps, making sure it wasn't trickling away for an extra. Just a single once more, straight to the fielder at cover. 43 for 4. Oh, just short, just short. Nice use of the feet again, trying to get it in between. Or straight of mid-off, I should say. But just dipping all the while, which is the same for the fielders out there, as we mentioned, on that mound as well from the middle.
Yeah, trying to get the length as you time your dive is incredibly difficult when you're up there, so she did well to keep that to a single the way the ball died on her.
Just ticking a little better in this over, Surrey. Again, that's something that they really need to be wary of at this moment, isn't it? To you mentioned it, you know, the word, I think, consolidation was one that everybody felt in the early years of T20 was a strange word to use, but there is time to consolidate, and not only time, it's actually quite crucial, isn't it? You don't have to keep going because you do have to judge the pitch and the moment as well.
Yeah, and you have to put a score on the board that you can defend, so if that means just taking your time, going back, they've worked some good singles around in that over that's given them the opportunity to see the pace of the pitch, to see a different bowler, so it's just it's a time in the game, something like we probably never thought it would happen in T20 cricket. It's almost those middle overs of a 50-over game that the game just hots itself up and creates a platform for one of the sides to go at the back end.
It's Patel, pavilion end. Just straight in first ball. Good work again from Carr, standing up behind the stumps. 45 for 1. You're impressed by my scorecard today?
I'm loving your
scorecard. On the back of a piece of scrap paper.
There's so many different ways to make sure you know what's going on. We spend too much time looking at computer screens these days, so writing it down and knowing that you can trust your own research is very impressive.
Oh, edged away. No slip in place. That'll get away for 4 as well. Good from Patel. Unlucky on that occasion. First boundary for a while for Surrey and a crucially needed one.
It's that time of the game where we've said about Middlesex having that pressure on the batters. They've got to be so careful now not to let it go the other way. And whilst you want to keep the boundaries down, so you give a few more gaps for singles, making sure that we don't take our foot off the gas here and let them build that partnership. Because we said before, there's two really experienced cricketers out there who can quite easily have scored plenty of runs without you realising it.
Just lofting that one down to long on. Sweetly struck. Just forcing the single down to long on, and nicely played. That 50 on the board now for Surrey. We talked about those first two games at the Oval going 2-0 up, and then the first game, the first home game for Middlesex was here at Radlett, which is where that 150 was set. It's nicely bowled once more. The 150, but it was a tight one, wasn't it? A three-run win in the end.
It was, and it was a pretty decent game for anyone to watch. I think Holly Huddleston was over here bowling the last over, and she didn't have as many to defend as you would normally want to have at the end of a T20, and batters that were in. So again, it had a little bit of everything as a game that day, which, as we managed to get a crowd in and you managed to get people supporting you, you always want to do that and want to make sure that people can see the skills that are on show from these girls.
I think it was 10 she had to defend off the last over, wasn't it? Winning by 3 in the end.
I'd have wanted more.
I'd have wanted a lot more. Nicely bowled again, top of off stump. Nothing for the batter to play with. Jones just having to remain watchful.
Yeah, that game goes to show you can never take for granted any situation in the game. They would have thought we've put on more than we normally would, and feel comfortable walking out to bat, and it's far from.
Just eased away nicely into the block hole once more, just given the chance to pick up the single though. Little leg side with the delivery. Good over once more though, and 54 for 4 Surrey, 18 for White, and Jones on 9. Looks like it's going to be Thorpe, is it? Yep, just into the attack at the Salters field end. Tatani checks the field, and like I say, we haven't seen much down the ground, have we? Much use of the feet at the moment, but again, like I say, the wickets column just means that high risk shots are something to be wary of still at this stage, and trying to make sure that the platform is there for a charge at the end.
Yeah, especially when there's pace off the ball as well. We saw the risk they took earlier with Brewer going at Gajit for early and finding herself stumped. It's very difficult to create pace.
It's a tad short first ball, dragged away into the onside for a single. And Jones moves to 10, 55 for 4. Trying to find a little bit of room on that one. Wasn't really there. Tight stuff though. Again from Middlesex. Haven't really given much up at all this evening for Surrey to play with. Finding the gap on this occasion. Just a single though. Moves White onto 19. Level with the top scorer of the innings so far. Capsey, who had given it a good start. And there was the promise in the power play, but those couple of quick wickets of Gordon and Chatley slowing things down. Offered right up there on this one. Pace right off. Lots of flight. Resisted once more by Jones. Skipping away in the crease. You can see from the pair of them, they have been itching to get going the last couple of overs. Looking for the big shot into the onside, mistimed. Quick single taken. Carr with the work from behind the stumps. Thrown to the non-strikers end, but they were always comfortably through. It's a little bottom edge So you can almost see from the energy, the nervous energy of the pair of them out in the middle, that they're trying to G themselves up to get this push going. This little shuffle, turn it into a low full toss, and single to the deep mid off. Overcalled by the umpire, 58 for 4 after 11 here on the Middlesex live enhanced stream. And yeah, you can just see, like I said, the one of the earlier in the over that was really given a lot of flight, an attempter up there that was saying come if you want to. Met at the end of the over. That's what Surrey are going to have to start doing now.
Yeah, and credit to both White and Jones. It's not necessarily their natural game to be sitting back and building. They want to be getting the run rate going, so they're having to pick the right ball to do it against, making sure that they're not taking those risks that could really come back to bite them at the end. So it's a good partnership building here for Surrey. That Middlesex do need to be careful they don't let get too far away before they can make an end to it.
Goal back into the attack, second over, bowled the 5th of the innings. Oh, just straight of Datani at mid-wicket. They've taken 2 with Long coming in, sharp work, but good running as well. And a couple more for White, moves to 13, 59 for 4, very nearly for Datani though at mid-wicket.
Yeah, she put in a great dive to try and cut the angle off, and again the ball's always slightly going downhill as you leave the mound there at mid-wicket, so she did her best to stick that left hand out.
Width on that one, and throwing the hands at it, that'll be 4 down to deep backward point. Nice shot from White, but as we said, all evening long, any little bit of width, and Surrey happy to go hard at it. Just trying to see how many goal went for in her first over, but my note keeping's been terrible. She bowled the 5th, didn't she? It was 9, if my scorecard is correct. Just loop down the leg side. And umpire signals are wide, so they take the single as well. Scored an under-11s match the other night. That was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. The number of checks from parents over the shoulder. How many off that one?
It's the pressure to make sure you get it in the right column, isn't it, that gets you. You won't find me sat behind the scorer's table.
Oh, just pops out on Carr. Umpire's going to signal a wide as well. A couple more to the total. I think it'd have been less pressure doing a Middlesex game. The under-11s was terrifying.
You still get asked by the players how many they went for and how did they get out, so don't worry about it.
It was the parents. The players were fine. It was the parents. Sharp and alert in the fields. No run. And Jones having to be careful there at the non-striker's end. Pace off on that one, dumps into the pads, and White, I think, deceived by it. Was ever close in the face on that ball, and she had a little bit more time on it, I think, than she realised.
Yeah, Middlesex have to be careful here. They've quietly put on 30 odd for this wicket, so it's a partnership that could do with being broken from a Middlesex perspective.
And gone, right on cue, taken at cover, and that reward for goal, 68 for 5, and back goes White, and a big wicket, and just as predicted as well. Well bowled, Danny.
Yeah, very, very. I wish it was that easy with the ball in hand, and yeah, I had to do some maths as well. So thank you to Golan Patel for making it worth my while for working out how many they have put on. But it's one where you just got to plug away, keep doing the right things, keep putting it in the right areas. As we've said all along, it's difficult to score if the ball is straight, and there was White trying to force the issue with a ball that wasn't quite there to put away.
Yeah, just chipped up into the offside. I was wondering whether it was a bump ball for a moment. Didn't want to get done by the crowd catch on the mic.
There's not much of a crowd here, so you're okay. They can't play up to that, and it's a very honest group of girls out there. I'm sure it would have been found out if it had happened, but very good timing there, good persistence, and backing your skills and doing it in the putting the ball in the right area and waiting for the reward to come.
Southby in at 7 for Surrey. And again, it was a good partnership. They're just back to that position, aren't they, Surrey? They've got to be wary of that wickets column.
Yeah, there's not much more than 8 overs to go now, is there? So you've got to start to get that balance of scoring runs whilst making sure you've got something left in the tank for the last couple.
Oh, just stopped on her. That ball, and for a moment, Goal thought she might be able to get down and get underneath that one, but crucial wicket, picking up White in the over, second wicket, sorry, for Goal, and 68 for 5. Capsey and White, 2 big scalps.
Very much so. It doesn't get any easier with Southby walking to the wicket now. Again, another really experienced cricketer and someone else who can take a game from you if you don't do your skills well. If you don't put the ball in the right area, she's very capable of scoring runs. So the Middlesex bowlers have to keep doing what they're doing, keep making them work hard for every run. The fielders have really backed them up throughout.
It's a tad short. Oh, put down at mid-wickets. Well, Jones falling then would have been huge. Absolutely huge if that one had been held. Sweetly struck, just the single taken, but a chance for sure, and Middlesex will hope they will not reflect on that as a very big moment. Just the single. Good throw. Back in from the ropes, and Southby off the mark, but yeah, if Middlesex had have claimed Jones at that point, they'd have really felt they'd have had a stranglehold on this game. Just a nasty bobble again. On the edge of the 30-yard circle and the single taken.
It was a tough chance there for Griffith in at mid-wicket. Again, slightly wide of her, so she had to put a dive in. She'll be disappointed. She got hands to it, and she'd expect herself to take it. But as you say, it leaves the game in a bit more of a balance.
Up in the air again, but fine a mid-wicket on this occasion. Just a single out to the deep. 72 for 5. Not as much spin on that one. And no misfield on this occasion. Yeah, I'm hesitant to call them misfields though, because there are some nasty bobbles in the outground.
And you're always under pressure from the batter, so it's almost a perfect storm at times.
Oh, sweetly struck, just out of reach over the heads of Thorpe. Went sharply back past. Both hands up, but just out of reach. And again, if that had been held, it would have been quite sensational. It's one of the sweeter struck shots so far, especially down the grounds. And end of the over, so Griffiths putting down Jones, and on 11 at the time it would have been 70 for 6, but end of the 13th it's 73 for 5 Surrey. And Jones and Southby, what do you think the optimal moment is to start the charge? I mean, the wickets column will be key, but if these two are still there, I guess maybe after the 15th, after the 16th.
Yeah, I think they'll be hoping for the quicks to come back on to give them a bit of pace to play with at the moment, with Thorpe at one end and Patel, who tends to bowl a bit of off pace straight at the wicket to wicket. It doesn't give you a huge amount, so if I was them, I'd be waiting for the point where they have to bring the openers.
Patel back. That one goes up in the air. Going to be safe wide of long on. We'll take a couple. 75 for 5. So we start the 14th. Just finding a few of those percentage shots as well. Finding the gaps, finding the areas. Just dragged away slightly, searching for that one. Jones replays the shot in her mind.
Yeah, there's a few pockets that they can get the ball into here. We talked about it being a quick run scoring ground when you can get it in the right areas. There's some very, very big corners if they can find the ball in that area. They can definitely get some value for it.
Wide given. Carr standing up once more. Zatani comes across for a chat. What do you think the word will be from the skipper at the moment?
I imagine she's just encouraging Sonali to do her thing, to back her to bowl her slow balls, to keep doing what she does best. She's an 18-year-old, hugely talented cricketer who, when she backs herself, she can execute those variations as well as anybody.
Mid-wicket drops back. Top of off stump again. With the line and length, square leg, the fielder's come up. And mid-wicket dropping back, I guess, in response to, again, a percentage shot. Which is an area where trying to go across the line off the top of off. If the connection is made, then mid-wicket will have the chance. Back in the good ball, I suppose. It's just dabbed fine of the backward point. Single down to third. Might reflect. Could have left it and taken the wide. Judged it pretty well, Surrey, in leaving the wides, watching them through and then sharply looking back to the umpire to make sure the hands went out. Good block hole delivery again. Mixture of those two at this stage, really, isn't it? Top of off or into the block hole.
It definitely is, and trying to make sure they do limit those extras that Surrey will be looking to make the most of if they can get their hands on a free run and an extra delivery.
Chopped away nicely, just a single. Deep point comes around, sweep up. Southby on to 3. End of the over. Umpire calls for the hand sanitisers as well. 14 bowls here on the Middlesex live stream. 78 for 5, so just the 5 off the over. Yeah, not quite going to be the 150 of 2017 for Surrey this evening. You think at this stage they'll be happy with, though, what will the number be in mind for them?
Well, the crowd are going to get some entertainment if it gets to 150. That's for sure. But I think at this point you've got 6 overs to go. If you can get yourself up to 8s or 10s in that, then you'd be hoping to get 120 on the board at minimum to really put a fight up. But you say it's one where Middlesex have to back their skills. They have to do what they've been doing really well, but also make sure they're not giving them too many opportunities to get the pace. Hannah Jones has been in for a while. She will get going at some point soon, and they're very aware of the capabilities of Southby as well. Change of ends for
Gajipra, whose wicket maiden was at the pavilion end, unless I'm going mad in the late evening sun here in Hertfordshire. Nice ball first up. Just outside off. Southby looking to find room to chop away. Oh, nearly pushed back up again, just stopping slightly on Southby. I'm not going mad, am I? It was the pavilion end first up, wasn't it, the wicket maiden?
What happens if I say I think you are going mad? Because I think she was at the far end.
I'll go with you. You can say it.
I'm pretty sure she was at the far
end. You wouldn't be the first to say it.
We almost saw a carbon copy of her dismissal there as Southby went to come out of the crease and chop it away.
Swept hard on this one, but straight to the fielder at mid-wicket. Frustration for Southby. Sweet connection.
and it's a good move to bring Gajipra back on, that taking the pace off, but also she bowls a pretty straight line, and there won't be much given away here.
Bit of a top edge about that one, out to deep mid-wicket, but they'll pick up 2. Sharply run, putting the pressure on the field. Well done from Southby, but it was a little top edge-ish, wasn't it, on the sweep?
It showed the lack of pace. I think she was through that shot a bit before the ball got to her, but you talked percentage shots. There wasn't anybody in there at square leg, so she knew it was an area she could target, and even if she got it slightly wrong, she was going to be able to come back for a couple of runs.
A little bit of width. Straight to the sweeper though, on the cover boundary. And just a single for Southby. Good recovery from Surrey, from 35 for 4. Nearly yorking herself with just a shuffle of the feet there. Jones had to be watchful at the end. In the end, as she hit it off the toe end down to mid-off. And 81 for 5 it is after 15. So just 3 off the over. And the fall of the 4th, that wicket maiden was the 7th, I think it was. 35 for 4. So in the last 8, putting on 46 runs for the loss of just 1 wicket. But still an innings very much in the balance here at Radlett in the London Cup.
And the Middlesex girls will know that they've got to chase every one of these runs on a wicket that is you have to get in on, and you have to really make sure you give yourself that chance. So every run here really does count. Every save they can make in the field, every extra they can not give away.
That was hit up in the air again. It's just going to be short. Very nearly. Dollied up into the covers once more. Just fractionally short. And disappointment for Patel. Just chopped down onto in the offside. And no run again. But yeah, very nearly a carbon copy. That catch at cover, a couple of overs back.
Yeah, and you can see the timing of the game. She's right back on the ring there. You're looking to save the single, not necessarily take the catch, and it fell just short of her.
Mistimed again. Frustration just builds for Jones. Wide signal by the umpire. I think Jones will be frustrated. There's been a couple that she's gone after now. The mindset's there, isn't it? To try and go after the ball, and a couple she's mistimed. Chasing wide ones, where, again, they had left so well, so many of the wide ones previously. It's
a skill that I used to base a career on it. Build a partnership without scoring any runs yourself. It's to know what a wide is and what isn't is a great skill. But the girls these days, they just want to score runs. That's
Patel just following her on this occasion, but got away down fine of the short fine leg, and 4 taken. 87 for 5. Clever batting, clever bowling. The batter just managing to get on top of it. I've seen them scooped onto the stumps before, or swept onto the stumps before.
It's a great shot when it comes off. It looks a little bit silly when it doesn't, but it's the game these days, and the girls they have the courage to play it, and it's amazing when it does come off because it opens up 360 scoring areas.
Oh, it's hit back, and very nearly a chance. It's going to be 4 down the ground, and great chase given across, and the cry of frustration you might have just picked up on the effects might there from Porter, just out of reach. That was sharply struck though, back past Patel. Jones to the boundary. Good response from Patel. Nicely dropped single into the onside though. Clever cricket. Surrey just get into a position now where they'll start to feel like they're ready for that charge. The end of the 16th, 91 for 5. Having been put in here at Radlett in the One Day Cup, Surrey. And Jones, very much the key wicket now for the visitors. 26 valuable runs, that one chance offered. A sharp chance it was at mid-wicket. And I think we can quite call that a chance in that over as well. It was as much going to take the head off, wasn't it?
I don't think she'd moved her hands before the ball got past her, and it was a good over that. They've taken 11 off it. It shows what boundaries can do at this time of the game. It suddenly starts to run away.
Very nearly turned into the full toss by Jones, but again having to be wary of Yorking herself as she uses the feet to Kajipra. That one goes up in the air. Over extra cover, lovely shot. Down towards the boundary open, it's going to go. Once it does get away in the outfield here at Radlett, because of that mounds, there's always a good chance that ball will kick on. And another welcome boundary. And Surrey approach 3 figures, 30 now for Jones. That one goes up in the air, but straight of long on, just a single. The direction was good, even if the connection wasn't quite there. Jones just replays the charge once more at the non-striker's end. But again, crucially keeping that line straight and not putting it straight down the throat of long on. Swept hard. Straight to the fielder though, so just a single. 2 out sweeping the onside. Seen a lot more of this sweep from Southby, haven't we? With that, Jones looking more to target the offside or down the ground. Just drops the single off the back foot here though. Nicely played. And 99 for 5 on the board as Jones moves to 32. Much more intention at the moment. At the moment from these two. Oh, playing across the line on that one. Indecisive really with the shot. And Southby, I mentioned how much he's been looking to sweep, trying to target the onside again on that one. Dragging it from outside off, but getting herself into an awkward position. Well bowled to end the over from Gajipra. 99 for 5, so 7 coming off the 17th. Again, at this stage of the innings, Middlesex will take that.
They're a difficult partnership to bowl to, these two. As you've said, there's 2 different styles there. You've got Jones really wanting to use her feet and come towards the batter, hit it down the pitch, and you've got Southby getting deep in her crease, trying to work it square. So as a bowler, you've really got to be able to manage your length well. You've got to be able to keep on top of your skills. So it's another partnership just bubbling away here. And with 3 overs to go, you've got two set batters who are standing firm, giving themselves a platform to go.
2 to go from Kopak. Picked up the first 2 to go in this Surrey innings. Back on from the pavilion end. Cracking Yorker. First up, well dug out by Jones. 100 up for Surrey. 100 for 5 in the 18th. 18 balls to go. Straight to the fielder at backward point. Frustrates Sotheby again. Picked the fielder a lot in the last couple of overs, even though those ones they have got away.
As a bowler, it makes you feel so much better when you know your fielders are there backing you up and there's no sniff given there. So it's important now, as every run counts, that the girls in the ring do their job and the girls on the boundary cut off everything that they can.
Boulder. Beautiful ball. Off stump taken out of the ground. I was just about to say, I think that'll be key here for Kopak to really target that off stump and make sure she's constantly asking Southby to try and go across the line. An off stump taken out of the ground, 100 for 6, big wicket in the 18th.
A massive wicket, as we've said before, that it's as soon as you get a partnership and you get batters that have been in for a while, it's much easier to score on this wicket. And you were saying earlier, it's actually the more pace on the ball, the easier it is to score. We talked about Blake Cullen last week, and the quicker it comes, the quicker it goes on an outfield like this. We talked earlier, it was potentially the time they were waiting for as a batting pair to get your quicks back on, to get Kate Kopak as your opening bowler on, to make the most of that pace. But she's not giving them an inch. She's kept everything at the stump. She's made them work hard for every run, and it's a really key wicket to pick up at this stage.
100 for 6. Really is a good time to take that wicket. And it's going to be Gray out to join Jones. He's still holding this innings together, really. 33, only batter to go past 20. Can you read my writing? I saw you triple look there.
I was trying to remember who took one of the catches and I couldn't remember it myself.
Quick single taken, just fine to mid-on. Struggling to read my writing myself. That's nicely played, using the pace, and it's going to be 4, down to long leg. Kopak's disappointed with herself, but that was just good, clever cricket from Jones. He's played that shot on a couple of occasions. We've talked about her using her feet and really opening up the offside equally from within the crease, but a couple of occasions now stepping across and looking for the scoop. Low full toss, just a single though. Up to mid-off and overthrow chance, yep, no. Decisions made in the end, settle on the 1, rightly so. .106 for 6 here at Radlett. Thorpe to continue at the Salters Field end. Now that goes up in the air. Mid-on is up inside of the circle and it's going to keep going. It might plug, and it does. It'll just be 2. Just dragging it down a little short first ball. Jones picks up a couple. Got the leverage, crucially, over mid-on.
It's a brave decision to bring your leggy on in the 19th over.
Just giving the chance for Jones to try and target the field at the moment. She's going to get 2 more over mid-on, long off getting around. 108 for 6. Wrist spinner. So often does drag it down first ball of an over as well, as the first one was. Now that goes up in the air to long off. And chance held. That's the end of Jones. Gone for 42. Thorpe strikes. Beautiful ball. Lovely line and length. And having taken a bit of tap the first 2, that one was put right on the spot. And Jones holds out to long off. Brilliant innings from Jones. 42 from her. 110 for 7. And a very key wicket to slow Surrey's charge at the end.
It was a brave decision, but a right decision to keep Thorpe on for that over. On one hand, you take the pace off and you make the batters do the work. On the other hand, they get the opportunity to sit a bit deeper in their crease, and there was nerves of steel by Kate Kopak as she stood underneath that one. It was a great innings, and one that really did hold the innings together. Hopefully now it's given Middlesex a chance to take a few quick ones and get themselves some real momentum going into the change of innings.
Yeah, wonderful 42 from Jones, 26 from White, 19 from Capsey. The main part of this innings. Gray on strike as the batters crossed. Take two. That's a deep mid-wicket. Nicely played. 112 on the board now. 7 down. Tried to find a mid-on for a single. Gives Berry strike for the first time. Oh, nicely bowled. Nice length again. Just floats past the outside edge. Berry first ball looking to punch, but good over from Thorpe, picking up the very big wicket of Jones for 42. And at this stage, to have two relatively new batters at the crease for Middlesex, a dream scenario. 113 for 7 after 19. 6 balls to go here of the Surrey innings in the London Cup. I think overall Middlesex will be pretty happy with their work. Jones, fabulous knock from her, and White's bit of momentum onto Capsey, giving it a start at the top. But Middlesex really put much of a foot wrong in the field. There was one sharp chance for Griffith, wasn't there? But other than that, not really a misfield to think of. Here's the last over with Kopak. Oh, pushed through outside the off stump, and looking for the scoop was Gray. Went a long way across. Kopak following her with pace. Full outside of off. 5 to go. Nicely played over the keeper's heads. Looked for it last ball, got it away this time. They'll look for twos. Third comes around. 115 for 7. Scoop coming off on this occasion. Again against the pace. Good when it comes off, risky when it doesn't. Kopak with a quick word of advice from Tatani. That one swung away into the onside. Mid-wicket might have a chance. Find the fielder and into the gap. 4 runs. Nicely struck. 3 to go of the innings. 117 for 7 Surrey. Just about managing to keep this momentum going at the end. Nice shot from Gray.
Yeah, you've got a bit of freedom in the last over, haven't you, to free your arms and have a go. And like she strikes a really clean ball. She's been looking to the leg side for most of the shots she's played, and that one she really got hold of.
Fancy footwork again and gets it away. That's excellent cricket. It's like fumble down on the ropes, but just the 2 taken. Word of encouragement from the sidelines by the sign of it down there. Well, that one did get away for 4. 123 for 7. Good response from Kopak in the block hole. Just looking to give a little bit of room on that one, Gray. Last ball of the innings. Just a single taken. A good end for Kopak there. 124 for 7. And Gray hangs her head backwards that she couldn't get it away for the boundary. Last ball. So 1, 2, 4 for 7 off the 20. And well, from 35 for 4, I think overall Surrey will see that as a good recovery.
I think both teams will feel really in it now. The power play definitely went Middlesex's way. The comeback, the two big partnerships that they put together with White and Jones, and then Jones and Southby, really gave them a foothold in the game. So actually, it was probably a pretty even Stevens now. You got to the magic 120. You feel like it's a runner ball in the game. So it's all down probably to how Middlesex start.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of score in T20 that neither side are particularly going to feel out of it at any, or even in it at any stage. No one will feel in control. It's something that if Middlesex bat their overs, they'll feel close to this. So even with a flurry of wickets at the top, as long as they can get that partnership going and keep a foundation going, then 125 is a very gettable target. Likewise for Surrey, though. They'll feel that they can build pressure at the end, even if it is a good power play and a good start for Middlesex.
Yeah, and I think, as I say, 120 you want to look at the very beginning and then go a bit bigger if you can do. For both teams, it'll probably come down to how they start. And if you put some pressure on either with the bat or the ball early on in the innings, you'll give that belief to the rest of your team that you're really in the game, whether that's with the opening batters for Middlesex coming out and providing the platform, or whether it's the opening bowlers for Surrey. But you're right, I don't think either team's going to be claiming bragging rights after that innings. It's pretty much in the balance.
So 125 the target here on the Middlesex Live enhanced stream. Just give you a quick rundown of that Surrey innings. Capsey opening up with Gordon. Gordon the first to go. Caught Marriott off the bowling of Kopak for a duck. Chatley with a duck as well. Bowled by Kopak. White and Capsey got things going for a little while. Capsey caught by the skipper Tatani off the bowling of goal for 19. White with 26 caught Patel off goal. And then Brewer stumped Carr, sharp work off Kajipra behind the stump. She was gone for a duck, a third duck of the innings at that point. 35 for 4 it was before White and Jones got things going. White went at 68 for 5 for her 26. Jones kept things going for a long while, making that top score of 42. The real key innings for Surrey. Kopak with the catch though. Kopak, the catch though, off Thorpe. And then Kopak bowling Sotheby 4-8 before Gray not out 15 and Berry out there at the end as well. 124 for 7. And it had a pretty good rhythm all the way through. I don't think Surrey, perhaps just those early wickets, 3 ducks early on, they'll look back and reflect that perhaps holding those wickets in hand or getting a little bit more from the top might have allowed a bit more of an acceleration or an earlier acceleration towards the end of the innings.
Yeah, and certainly the quality of the wickets that didn't get going, I suppose they'd look at those 3 to see them scoring runs in their perfect game plan. So it was a strange innings. You never really felt that Middlesex had done anything wrong. Yet you look at the scoreboard and they've conceded 1-2-4, which in many cases could be a pretty competitive score. And we've seen you need to get going as a batter on here. You can't go from ball 1. You've got to bat yourself in. You've got to see what the pace of the wicket comes across as. And actually, Hannah Jones showed hitting the ball straight. You talked about it a lot, but trying to hit the ball straight, that was her preferred method, and she got a lot of reward from doing that. And it suggests it's potentially the kind of track that if you can go as straight as possible, you can use your feet and go at the batter, you actually get some rewards out there.
Pretty much all formats of cricket, you say judge it when it's both sides are batted, really, don't you? But it is hard to call that one on this because, as I say, I think both sides will feel they didn't do that much wrong. But again, Middlesex, the fielding was pretty sharp. Wasn't really a chance put down, only a very sharp half chance for Griffith, wasn't there? But other than that, Middlesex executed pretty well, I think. The extras column doesn't look too heavy for Middlesex, which is, again, especially in 2020, a column that you look at sharply.
It is, and it's been great to see the girls really put the pressure on the batters. I think you've got to give Surrey some credit. What they did really well was manipulate the field to create the areas that they wanted to hit to. They weren't afraid to get the scoop out. They weren't afraid to try and hit to different areas in order to open up the spaces that they did want to hit to, and that they did do really well. And Middlesex need to take a bit of that. And if they're patient, that you don't have to have gone for large amounts of runs in the power play, you're in a position here where just get the pace of the wicket, keep some wickets in hand, and then you can go bigger at the end. So I think we're definitely in for a good second innings.
It's always difficult to compare year upon year scores on the ground. That 150 that we've talked about previously in 2017, but for the London Cup, that's roughly a par score. The lowest being the 108 for 7 last year at the Oval, posted by Middlesex, the highest being the 150. But other than that, it's always been around the 120 to 130 mark.
Yeah, and as you say, there's no real pattern to it. Also, we're playing at different grounds, and they have different scoring expectations. I remember the game at Guildford in 2018. We saw 2 amazing opening efforts from Bryony Smith, and followed up by Naomi Datani, who made batting look simple, and then their teammates at the other end made it look a little bit tougher. So you can't always go by what we've seen in the past. It definitely will be a chase that Middlesex have to really work at. There's nothing easy in cricket, and as you say, until both teams are batted, you don't know whether it's a good or bad score. But they'll have to work here. They'll have to really stick to their game plans and knuckle down to get these runs.
Apologies, I talk cricket too much. I'm meant to be grilling you on the Sunrisers at this point. Let me give listeners and viewers the bowling figures of that innings first, though. Wolf 2 overs, none for 13. Kopak with 4 overs, 3 for 27. Gold 2 overs and 2 for 19. Datani none for 10 from 2. Gajipra up with 1 for 14 from her 4. Wicket maiden start up as well. Patel none for 25 from 3. Thorpe 1 for 16 from 3. Again, everybody pretty much did their job with the ball, didn't they? Which is what we were saying. Nobody will walk away feeling that they haven't contributed or let the side down at all.
Yeah, definitely. And I was really, really pleased to see the opening partnership of the two KTs in Wolf and Kopak, and the pressure they put on early doors. They got rewards through some wickets at Kopak's end, but they didn't give them anything, and that was really, really pleasing to see, because it's maybe an area that the Middlesex and Sunrisers have struggled at recently, is putting that pressure on early doors and being able to take that as a platform as a bowling side. So it was great to see that, to see the pace off with Gajipra and Thorpe. That worked really well, bowling up that top end at Saltersfield end. So all in all, I think everyone will be really pleased with their effort, just knowing they have to knuckle down now and put a good run chase in.
So the Sunrisers, again, we talked about the COVID challenges of the last couple of years, which a headache for everybody in the world, of course, but in sport in particular. For a side looking to build, side looking to pull, together in the right direction, looking towards the future. I guess because it's I shouldn't guess at all, because it's a accumulation of players from different areas. I suppose that's a different challenge in itself. Obviously, unity is one thing for a club and a team, especially through COVID and trying to keep everybody going. But then when you're trying to pull everybody back after the pandemic, that in itself, I guess, is a great challenge.
Yeah, we had some really strange problems over the winter. Look, first and foremost, we were so fortunate we could keep training. We were really fortunate to be afforded the elite status that allowed us to continue to train throughout the first few months of this year. But that came with challenges, because you're constantly questioning, is it morally right for us to ask someone to drive 100 miles return to do something? Should they be crossing county boundaries? We had times where people were obviously living in areas that were harder hit than others. So there were challenges and questions you probably never thought you would have to ask on that front. In terms of building that team, again, it was difficult to start with. We obviously had a summer last year where the bulk of the players we're working with now were around. But then we spent a lot of the winter training individually, one-to-ones, very small groups, and trying to juggle together what we were able to do within the guidelines. So we're really seeing now that they're a group that are really starting to gel, but it has taken time. We have done a lot of work, a lot of Zoom calls, but also now it's face-to-face. It's so much easier to have those conversations and get to know each other.
And of course, those group sessions, they had to be small groups. I'd imagine that was for everybody, for small groups, for even at elite level. With those groups then having to be dictated by geography, whereas for a club side, they'd be dictating that group by batsmen, mix of senior and young, bowlers, mix of senior and young, another mix of senior and young batters and bowlers. Was it the same? Or was it the same for you, or was it purely based on, right, we're going to have to drag this group from this location, this group from this location, and base it on geography?
We did have the challenge of both, I suppose. It was making sure the right players got access to, I guess, the right skills coaches, because it was a great opportunity to work on some of those fundamental skills that you might not do if you're in team sessions the whole time. So making sure that we were able to get them access to the right coaches, and that might have seen a bit more travel than ideal, but there were also times where, when can they get access, when's realistic? If we're training at Northampton, who are the players that are the closest to there to benefit from that, as opposed to asking someone who's in Northampton and further north to travel down to the north of London at Finchley. So there were challenges that we probably wouldn't normally face, but they've also given us a great example of how well we can adapt as a team, as individuals, and if you can get through this winter, we can probably get through most things.
Cheltenham, Wantage Road, Fenner's MTS is the only Middlesex home ground, I think, this year, isn't it? Merchant Taylor School.
It is, so we're there, I think it's Friday the 10th of September, so we're really excited to be there. It's a ground Middlesex have played quite a lot of their cricket on. Middlesex women have been there over the years and had some really good success, so looking forward to bringing the game down here, and we're already making plans with the participation team at Middlesex to make it a really exciting day for the female cricketing network around here.
And that break in the season from the beginning to the end, it's a long way away, isn't it, until that MTS fixture? How does that work for you?
It's going to be a slightly strange season. I mean, it'll probably be different for different players. The break comes fundamentally because of the 100, which really does mean that those playing in the 100 will get no break at all, but they'll also get a lot of cricket. Those not selected for the 100 will find themselves maybe wishing that the next game will come a bit quicker. So it will be a different challenge again for the girls that they won't have come across. Like someone like, we've got the two openers out there now in Detani and Griffith. They're both going off to play in the 100, so there's no break for them. Some of the other girls on their team will be well, maybe they won't be quiet because they still have plenty of training on, but it will be a slightly different routine to how these girls will spend their July and August. But the great thing about playing across the whole summer is that we get a chance to really develop and learn, and that's one thing we found last year. Okay, it was a 6-week drop-in competition. If you don't get off to a good start, you really do struggle to pick up that momentum again later on. But across the season, there's a real chance for it actually to have those ebbs and flows that you might not normally have.
Here we go. Great to get us underway from the pavilion end. The dot ball first up to Detani. Middlesex live enhanced stream here at Radlett. Middlesex set 125 to win. And a good competitive match, would expect roughly a par score on a ground that has been known to be a big scorer. Solidly in behind that one once more. A couple of dot balls to start up. Get my feeling, a hunch from the sidelines is Middlesex don't need to be too panicked in the power play. Just keep those wickets in hand. If there is that bit of width, there is that bad ball, then put it away. But vastly experienced out in the middle. Naomi Detani opening up. Right up there, onto the pads. Going down the leg side though. Yeah, just going back to what we were saying, that obviously is cricket's great challenge all across the world at the moment, isn't it? The calendar, the schedule, through all levels, from club up to the international teams, trying to find those blocks, trying to find the schedule that works, the formula that works. And the dot ball, good start here from Surrey and from Gray. But of course it'll be all eyes on the 100 as well this summer.
Yeah, well, there's so much cricket being played, which is brilliant, because it means that we're coming out the other side of the frustration that was 2020, and obviously the 100's going to be the bit that everyone looks at later in the summer. But to see club cricket getting going again, like it's almost like people realise they quite enjoyed the game last year when they missed it.
Oh, just picked out the fielder. Sharp work in at cover. Titania just feel she missed out slightly on piercing that offside field. It's not far away either now, the 100, is it? The adverts are all starting to roll on the TV channels. Up over the top and clears the infield on this one. Hasn't quite got the legs. Once again, good work by Capsey. They've been prevented that single the last ball, holding them to 2 on this. But Tatani, holding them to a single on this, but Tatani managing to get up and under, just give that leverage over the infield.
Yeah, you could see how hard it is to go at the ball early in an innings there. The ball definitely didn't get to Tatani as quickly as she thought it was going to. She was a little bit late on the shot, but enough bat speed to get it up and over those guys in the inner ring.
First ball for Griffith. Stands up tall, easing into the offside. Nice line of length again from Gray to end. Solid first over for Surrey on the mark. Pretty much every delivery. It's that one scoring shot for Datani. Getting it over the infield. And 1, 2, 3 more to win for Middlesex. As is always the way, away from the HQs, the outgrounds, more so than the HQs. It's just getting the feel, getting the timing of a pitch.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think Datani is our first left-hander we've seen today. So the Surrey bowlers have a different challenge to those that the Middlesex openers did, and that is to bowl at 2 different batters. Left-handed, right-handed partnerships always helpful as a batting team. It gives the bowling unit a different challenge, the fielding unit a different challenge, potentially finding yourself out of position. So hopefully for Middlesex they'll be able to put a decent partnership on at the top of the order and give them a platform.
Cooper to open the bowling from the Salters field end. Nicely placed first ball. Tani just watchful again. Two outside the circle being long on and deep mid-wicket. Swept away nicely. There's the first boundary for Middlesex. Tatani gets it away. Short fine leg up inside the circle. Just able to work with that leg side delivery. Sweep it away. Making no mistake at all. 6 without loss.
There's already an interesting change of tactic here from how Middlesex opened up with the 2 quicks. Surrey going with the spinner as well to try and complement and put a change of pace in.
Just looking to give herself room, couldn't quite get it away, piercing the offside field. Fielded at backward point, just tucked up slightly. She tried to find that room. Sweetly struck straight to the fielder. Just a single for Datani. She moves to 6. Nicely timed. Fielder in the perfect position out in the deep. Long off's going to come up. It'll be long on. Or indeed, it was long on for the left-hander. But they'll keep that same field of long on back and deep mid-wicket. Bringing deep mid-wicket around slightly straighter. Away in the onside. Gordon out there. Just looking to ease it fine of the short third man. Short third, but the throw was sharp coming in. Jones behind, backing up. Had to be alert to that one. Surrey right on the spot here at the start. 7 without loss after 2. Surrey had 10 on the board at this stage. And as I say, only really that sweep shot from Ditani giving her any freedom to go hard at one. Second over for Gray. And Ditani to face. To drive away into the offside again. It's been really good line and length bowling to begin here from Surrey. Asking Ditani and Griffith to be the ones to find the way to eke out those runs. Nothing really given away at all from Surrey so far. Once more on the spot. Width very much remains the key. Saw a few stopping, didn't we, in the Middlesex innings, which Middlesex will have been wary of coming into the chase.
Definitely, it's all about being patient now and building that platform. They know it's hard to score to start with, and the two of them wait for the opportunity to get their hands through a wide or a short ball.
Yeah, it's a sharp one, wasn't it? Goes away for 4 no balls. Signalling 4 there, the umpire. Scoreboard will tick along to 12 without loss, and here's the follow-up. It was a sharp bouncer to start with. Well, that last ball from Gray. Cut away into the offside. Just a dot ball once more. Really good pace on that bouncer though, wasn't there? And keeper standing up as well. The signal, I'm sure, was given before it was delivered to expect that it was coming.
We don't see it too often, one that manages to get all the way up above head height. So Eva Gray's managed to get something out of this wicket that none of the Middlesex bowlers did. She really put her back into that, and yeah, it may be 5 runs that Middlesex really appreciate at the end of the day.
Oh, inside edge on that one. Down to fine leg it goes. No, I think the umpire's going to signal by. Nothing on it. Goes straight through everything. Just thought I detected a little inside edge of that sharp swing from Ditani, but a bye it is. Pace is impressive here from Cooper. From Gray, my apologies. Zips through again, just outside of the off stump, left alone by Griffith. Expecting the wide on that one?
I think she might have been. I'll have to teach her a little bit about how to shoulder her arms, just to get the umpires to think that it was wider than it actually was. But we've seen some different paces here from Gray. A few that have really popped through, and a couple, that last one, it kept a little bit low as it went away from Griffith there.
That's a nice pick up. Deep mid wicket's not going to get around. It's going to be 4. And Griffith off the mark. Lovely way to do so as well. Just dropping slightly short, Gray, at the end of the over. Griffith was onto it quickly. 17 without loss. Good third for Middlesex. Surrey had 14 on the board at this stage. But solid start from Middlesex now with that boundary at the end of the third.
And this is exactly the platform that these two would want to have set for the team, to go out there, see out the first few overs, get the pace of the pitch, and give the other guys a bit of confidence to come in after them and hopefully finish off the chase when needed.
Here's Cooper's second over. Just a dot ball to mid-off to Tani. Still long on and deep mid-wicket, the two outside the circle. Nicely dropped single, just fine. Sharply taken, throw comes into the stumps. Sharp work. The gloves on, but nothing doing. No appeal, so comfortably home Griffith, but they had to be sharp about that one. Chatley whipping hard at the bails, but they were always comfortably through. Nice use of the feed, the thought of the single, but straight to South Beat at mid-off. No run taken again. Another one about a power play. I mentioned the loss of wickets that can go so quickly in a power play and cause a trouble. You don't want to go out of the power play with none down on the board and feel like you've left runs out there. Oh, bowled again. Dabs away defensively into the offside.
Especially with a spinner on at one end, the overs do get away from you quite quickly. You look up at the scoreboard. You think, do you think two's gone and 3 overs have gone, 4 overs have gone? So as you say, there's a fine balance of making sure you remain proactive. You're getting between the wickets quickly, taking every opportunity, but also making sure your wickets are in hand.
It's a lovely shot down the ground. Long on's back, but it's going to go straight to her for 4. Really good shot from Griffith. 22 without loss. Mid-off up. But again, with long on back, it had to be sweetly struck down that slope, as we mentioned, but the placement had to be perfect, straight back past the bowler, and it was.
We said after the first innings, you got a lot of value if you look to go straight, especially against the slower bowlers, and Griffith is very strong in that area, used her feet well, and absolutely nailed that.
Top ball pushed back to end the over. Another good one for Middlesex. 22 on the boards. Surrey after 4. They're exactly the same, 22 at this stage. But yeah, leaving runs out there is one thing you never want to do in a power play. Again, that fine margin. Well, if we're going by that statistic I was rolling out, Middlesex are looking pretty good here unless they lose 3 quick wickets in the next 2 overs.
Hopefully you haven't managed to put the jinx on it, but yeah, there's a long way to go in this game still. 103 runs still required, and some very skillful bowlers on the Surrey side.
Comes Kerins on from the pavilion end. Only batter not to see any action in the middle. Pretty tight one there from the umpire. Generous. Chipped away. Just a single out to cover for Datani. Moves to 8. Eight apiece, 23 on the board. Feels like one of them needs to just chance their arm here. Well, either or, in fact, and the other sticks. Or the one that remains sticks. Pace right off, strokes back respectfully by Griffith.
Knowing them both quite well, they'll desperately want to be setting the platform for the team, and are very aware. They've played a lot of cricket. They've played quite a bit of cricket together in this role for Middlesex, so will will know that anything they don't get now, they can get later. But it is also very much in their nature to try and score runs quickly. So as you say, the game is bubbling up quite nicely here. These guys wanting to get on with it.
Bowled again. Griffith dabbing patiently into the onside. Point and square the two back. Pretty standard fields in the power play to keep that ball on the top of off stump. Really good stuff this from Kerins.
She's targeted the stumps really well. There's been absolutely nothing for either of the Middlesex batters to get away here, and that's such a challenge when you've got a left-hand and right-handed partnership as well. So credit to her. Keep your nerve from Middlesex perspective. Maiden over is not the end of the world. It's one that you can come back from if you've got wickets in hand.
There's the big swing. The appeal goes up, and yep, swinging across the line. Gone LBW. Griffith departs. Kerins with the wicket. Reward for the build-up of dot balls. 23 for 1 in the 5th. And not a disaster for Middlesex at all, but it felt as though that pressure just to try and tick that scoreboard over was just starting to tell, and you wondered whether that swing was going to come at one point. Griffith couldn't resist in the end.
Yeah, she tried to do something different, came across her stumps to try and work her through to the leg side, and it seems I can get wickets on commentary for both teams, and I'm ever the fair person to make sure it's evened out. But a platform has been set. Look, they've Naomi Datani's still in there, joined now by Amara Carr, who again she's batted a lot with over the last year or so, and they'll be looking to continue off where Griffith had left it.
Tatani will fill that role now, won't she, just to anchor this innings at this point. Saw done in the same way really for Surrey, wasn't it? We talked about those 3 early wickets with the 3 ducks in the Surrey innings and how costly that might be at the end, but Tatani, I'm sure, will be determined to be the one to bat a long period of time after the early loss. Carr in at 3. A fine job behind the stumps, particularly that stumping as well this evening of Brewer. That was the 3rd of those ducks, leaving Surrey 31 for 3 in the power play. Here's Jones. Placing Cooper at the Salters Field end. Top scorer with 42 for Surrey. Jones already made a big impact. Swept hard once more by Datani and rewarded for more. Couple of sweeps away now. Second boundary for Datani and 27 without loss. Sorry, 27 for 1. Never trust an outground scoreboard.
We'll take it if they want to leave it like that, but I don't think that's how cricket works.
Does that mean she can come back out?
She gets to be the 12th batter now, but yeah, you've got your own scorecard though, so we'll keep with that one as opposed to the one at the other end of the ground.
No, it's been excellent. It's been up to speed most of the way through. Nice sweep away again from Zatani and rewarded. Just been a change of field as well for that sweep as well, wasn't there? The short fine leg had moved around. And Datani on this occasion using all that experience, getting it away down the leg side, getting it away fine. 3rd boundary on the sweep for Datani, something for Surrey to think about. 31 for 1. Big swing, just be a single, not quite connected. 32 for 1. Middlesex win the power play as things stand. 31 for 3 it was for Surrey. Short ball. Once more for Jones. 35 for 3 it was at the end of the power play. And then 35 for 4 after the 7th, that wicket maiden. Nicely straight ball once more.
It's been a very tidy power play this for Surrey. They've given very little away and made Middlesex work for every one of those 32 2 runs. And as you say, it's a good platform. It's hopefully, going by your statistic, it's a winning platform. But there's a long way to go in any game of cricket, and another few key overs coming up here, because sometimes you see that field spread and your eyes light up as a batter and you start to do things you might not have done a ball ago. But let's see how they decide to play this. Hopefully some gaps open up, and these two are very good runners between the wickets, and can make the most of that opportunity to get the ball into gaps and scamper between the stumps.
Yeah, make note of that to come back at the end of the match, see if that statistic bears out in this one.
Could be a research paper in this one if you've got any spare time.
It was a couple of years back, but for sure, watching on in recent years, it still remains the way.
Yeah, there's some other statistic that you don't really bat if you come below 6 in the cards. So if you get below that, you don't tend to win games either. But batters size bat all the way down these days in women's game and in the men's game. So it's really, you can never count your chickens.
Running the wide down the leg side, Datani had to be careful though, getting the skates onto the non-striker's end. 34 for 1. Pace off, but down the leg side again from Kerins. Throw goes up to the non-striker's end once more, where Carr on this occasion had a comfortably jog through single. Well worked single. Throw will come to the non-striker's end. They are through, I think. Even at the angle we are, I think Datani was safe enough from the throw from Jones. Nicely cut away, but sharp fielding, and Datani has to get back at the non-striker's end. Well backed up as well. They might get through for the single here on the overthrow. The backing up was good from Southby. Alert, sharp cricket all around. The gamble of the throw at the non-striker's end was well worth it from Jones, as Datani was desperately trying to get back in her ground. The overthrow, not a slant at all on the fielding side. It was sharp work and well backed up by Southby.
Surrey have been very neat and tidy in the field. Their field settings have been good, and they've definitely backed their bowlers up. Couple of extras have crept in the last couple of overs, but definitely a tight start by those guys.
Oh, pace right off. Did it slip out though? Down across, angled across to Datani and out of the way of the gloves of the keeper. They'll pick up a single on top of the wide, and 40 for 1 on the board now for Middlesex. Just an over that's really swinging Middlesex's way, this one. The extras was something we identified in that Middlesex innings as being a strong point of their performance in the field. For Surrey, they just need to be careful here now, not to be a bit too sloppy, just outside of the power play.
Yeah, and it's a double whammy for them. They're going so wide, they're having a single run off them as well, which is just, that's not what you want to see as a bowler.
Nicely taken single. Sharp fielding, throwing bowling, good finish towards the end of the over with a couple of dot balls. Up in the air it goes. Might be safe. 3 go after it. This will be a great catch if it's held. It's not. Southbeat going around from backward points. It was nearly 4 converging in the end. Just scooped up really over the infield. Backward point. Not able to get around. Carr gets away with it. Single to the total to end the over. 41 for 1 at the end of the 7th. And well, the field up. The thought was clear to get underneath it and clear that infield. Again, a percentage shot to some chance. Very nearly allowed Surrey, though, to get underneath it as Sotheby nearly made up the grounds.
Yeah, and it's good intent to say, look, we're not just going to sit here and let you bowl at us. We're going to come out and we're going to try and score the runs. And it is difficult with when you've just come to the crease. Carr hasn't been there for very long. She hasn't faced many balls, and there isn't a huge amount of pace in the wicket until you can really get used to it. So she's looking to impose herself on the game as quickly as she can.
Jones, second over from the Saltersfield end. Nicely played by Carr. Trying to go after that fly. It was something Surrey weren't really afforded the luxury to do early in their innings because of those early wickets. Were reluctant really to use the feet too much to the fly to delivery, which Carr's done nicely there for the single. Tani just looking to close that face into the onside, very nearly offering that edge up in the opposite direction. Tad short. Tani drags it down to long on for a single, 43 for 1.
And that's all they need to do at the moment. Just find those deep fielders, get the ball out to them, add up those runs without taking too many risks. You don't have to take the boundaries on. They've got a really great platform here. 82 needed with over 12 overs to go.
It's a nice shot. Use of the feet, straight of the mid-off, and how far is it going to go down there? Is that kept in? It is. It's great work. Great completing the fielding, getting the throw back in. Again, I was looking for it to be one of those down the slope at the Saltersfield end to keep going. That's excellent work.
I think she had backspin on it, so we should get her out on the golf course. That seemed to pitch and come back at her, but again, real intent to make sure she stamps her mark on the game.
Quick single for Tatani. Deep square coming up. It's just ticking nicely now for Middlesex. Tani on to 20. Again, the pressure will just heap here to Surrey, won't it? Because all of a sudden they'll be thinking, where do we block these runs off? A steady flow with a good stock of wickets in hand as well. Single taken, but good fielding again. Carr very nearly piercing that offside field, which was up.
And that's something they're going to need a bit of here, as the fielders are so key to being able to keep these runs down, to put a diving stop in like that and keep the runs off the board is really important to back the bowlers up. But as we say, we're out of the power play now. There's four fielders on the boundary, and it does create those big gaps for Carr and Datani to just work the ball into, pick up the singles, and when the ball's there that they can get their hands through, they can have a go.
Surrey 41 on the board at the end of the 8th. 4 down, of course, for them at that stage, though. So Middlesex well ahead at this stage. 77 to win from 12 overs. Here's Gregory. Dropping short first ball. Single taken to mid-on by Carr. pressure off in terms of boundaries at the moment as well for Middlesex, isn't it? And they can just push around those singles. Sorry, at some point we'll have to try and tighten up the field and stop the singles. Ask Middlesex to put away the bad ball, or to try to find a way to pierce that field. Nice bit of flight on that one for Gregory.
She's a dangerous bowler, Danny Gregory. She's picked up wickets in recent Stars matches, so she's definitely someone that they need to keep on top of, keep going at. Don't let her bowl at you.
That's nicely put away. At the moment, these runs just getting away too quickly for Surrey. Can Gregory's introduction change that? That's a lovely shot. Shot of the day, I'd say, from Datani. Moves to 28, 57 for 1. Hit on the up as well, far from a half volley.
Not an easy shot there, and there's not much pace on that ball, so to keep your weight going through that shot and your hands to direct it through the gap, that was a fantastic shot by Datani.
That's another lovely shot. Big over this for Middlesex. Datani will pick up a couple, moves to 26, 55 for 1 in the 9th. That pressure really now is starting to swing towards Surrey.
Yeah, again, really, really well weighted. She hits a boundary the ball before. She just waits for it and guides it there to pick up 2. That's intelligent cricket.
It goes up in the air, but placed well by Datani. Swept over the backward square leg. Deep mid-wicket coming around. Flicks it back up and into play. They're back for a comfortable 3 in the meantime. This really is an excellent innings now from Datani. 29 from her at the top is putting Middlesex into a very strong position here. 58 for 1 at the end of the 9th, where Surrey were 44 for 4 at the end of their 9th over, and Middlesex really are powering ahead here. 67 more to win. Bit of a conflab at the non-strikers end as Surrey will have to try and work this one out. They need a wicket and they need Datani.
They definitely do, and it's forced another bowling change as well, which the Middlesex girls just have to be wary. See how the pace comes out from Capsey, but keep doing the things you're doing. You've got one set batter at one end and another one that's very happy to play second fiddle and do the running whilst quietly accumulating at the other.
Capsey into the attack for the first time. Full bunger first up. Datani just picking up a single out to deep mid-wicket. Just a little shuffle from Carr. No run to mid-off though. Again, no need for any risks now for Middlesex. That's the beauty of it at this particular moment. Obviously they'll want to keep the scoreboard ticking, but there does seem to be runs all around the park for them at the moment, which will be of a huge concern to Surrey. Carr able to push that one just straight of the deep mid-wicket. You can see that these two have a confidence at the moment about what they need to do and how they need to do it. Punched away. And it'll go all the way. Deep cover won't get around. Datani on to 37. This is becoming a masterful knock from the Middlesex captain.
And it's showing why it's so difficult to bowl at right and left-handed partnerships, because your fielders are just on slightly the wrong angle when you turn around to the other batter, and it's such a handy thing to have. And Naomi's playing this really, really well.
That goes big. Is it going to go all the way? It is. First 6 of the night. Middlesex had just gone past the halfway point in this chase. They're powering past it now. Tatani really giving that one the full whack. And clearing mid-wicket. 44 for Tatani. 74 for 1 Middlesex. 51 to win. Nicely defended back up the track. It looked as though she was resisting with all her might to go after another one there, Tatani. 44 for her, 9 for Carr, 74 for 1. And 9 bowls, and well, the over-by-over comparison now, I'm not sure it's even particularly worth it at this stage. As we head towards the halfway stage of the innings, Middlesex are well ahead in comparison. Just the 51 required with 10 to go. And at the halfway stage, this is emphatic stuff.
We talked about how important those wickets in the power play could end up being, and you can just see here the end of power play run scores were very similar, but the way they were able to accelerate coming out of it, Middlesex having those wickets in hand and set opening or top 3 batters has really allowed them to push this on and put the pressure on the Surrey bowlers that Surrey just weren't able to do.
Gregory continuing from the pavilion end. Need a bit of inspiration here from somewhere, Surrey. Who's it going to be? It feels like it needs to be just a bowler to come up with a moment of magic to break this partnership. Shot, just a single. Respectfully played. As I say, whether it's a measure of the dot balls, that was all how we saw Griffith go, where we felt, and again it's an easy game from the sideline, you don't need to be pressured by the dot balls at that stage. And Middlesex, the team had the potential to move into control, but it did get to Griffith, didn't it, those build-up of dot balls. This one's coming down towards us, turned into a low full toss by Carr with a little shuffle, gets it away for 4. And just wide of the commentary tent. It's retrieved by Cooper, retreating from mid-off. 79 for 1 in the 9th.
Yeah, we said it before, 20 overs is quite a long time. We get caught up in thinking that you've got to score off every ball, and those dots, a maiden over won't hurt you anywhere near as much as wickets do.
Nicely bowled. Just tucked Carr up. Again, looking to get a move on, keep these runs ticking. 79 for 1, that is the end of the 11th. Does Surrey have to gamble at this stage now and bring the field up and say, right, there's not a single in it. If you want a run, you're going to have to go over the top, put that ball on the stumps and say you're going to find the runs?
It's a difficult one when you've got 2 batters that have shown that they're so willing to go over the top that as soon as you do bring it up, you could be making it very difficult for yourself. I think it's time to perhaps bring on a slight change of pace. We've had spin now for quite a few overs, and it might be worth us changing things up and seeing how that goes. But I feel I wouldn't want to be bringing a ring field in for these 2 at the moment, personally.
That's a cracking shot, but straight to extra cover, a dot ball. Just a single again into the onside, 81 for 1. Yeah, it just feels like I say it's a difficult balance now for Surrey, isn't it? So Middlesex can comfortably do this in singles. There's plenty of gaps from 2 batsmen, 2 batters, my apologies, that are seeing it big. Another nice single just taken away. Sweeper comes around. Runs a plenty for Middlesex, and at whatever pace they feel like it.
The challenge Surrey have here is it's not that they're scoring runs on one side of the wicket, they're scoring them all around, and the left-handed right-handed partnership has really made it difficult for the Surrey bowlers to settle. It's made it really difficult for the Surrey captain in Hannah Jones to set a field that allows them to control half the field, and therefore you can attack on the other half. But at the moment the runs in boundaries and singles are coming all around the field.
Wide ball. That was a mark at the beginning of the innings. It hasn't been so noticeable since, has it? But the extras at the beginning of the innings felt as though they stacked up, and in a way it felt like that alleviated a bit of pressure, gave Middlesex a little bit of time. And Tani feeling she'd pierced the offside there, and that was going to be the shot for the 50. Know the call. Carr's got to get back. Comfortably so. .83 for 1 at the end of the 12th. Danny's just worked out that maths isn't my strong point.
I was actually just showing off that I did watch a couple of balls. That was all, and it's nice to see these guys talking through their game plan, even though they're in control of the game. They'll be thinking continuously, how do we make sure we get this home as a partnership? And new bowler coming on, very different style to what we've seen before. Remain patient, see what the pace of the pitch is like, and wait for those balls that you can really make the most of.
So Gordon it is. Carr calls the quick single, drop just in front of backward point. 84 for 1, and Tani on to strike. How long does Tani wait? Give herself to have a look at the new bowler before she tries to find that boundary.
Are you a betting person?
What's the bet? Take a couple. She's earned the right, hasn't she, to just have a look here. That one goes big, and it's going to go not all the way, but all the way that it needs to go for Ditani. There's the 50. Wonderful, wonderful knock. 7th 4, and a 6 in there as well for Ditani. Raises the bat to the pavilion and around Radlett. Wonderful innings from the captain. 44 balls with those 7 4s and the 6, and 88 for 1. Middlesex powering home here, just 37 needed.
And Ditani does seem to like the London Cup. I dug out a photo of the 2015 Cup team earlier, and I'm pretty sure Naomi Ditani was in that. So she's played in every single game over the years, and this is her second 50 in the competition. In a match-winning knock back in Guildford a few years ago. She does seem to really enjoy the leading from the front opportunity that she gets in fixtures like this.
Well, it's emphatic stuff. I was just weighing up the biggest victory margin in the one-day cup. 5-1, as we say, in matches for Middlesex. 7 wickets. If I can read my own scrappy handwriting, was the biggest victory margin so far. That was at Guildford. It's on dug out by Ditani back up the track. And that was when Ditani hit that previous 50-52. Chasing the 123 that Surrey set at Guildford in 2018. Third 50 in the one-day cup, all 3 for Middlesex. Tasha Mills with 50 in 2017 here at Radlett. Ditani 2018. Now in 2021. But that's the ends. Not to be the highest score. 50 for Ditani. A wonderful innings. Should be a match-winning innings from the Middlesex captain. 88 for 2. Looking to power on and power home. Not the highest score that she's hit previously in the One Day Cup. That's still her 52 from Guildford. But 2 50s in these 7 fixtures of One Day Cup. Datani, the standout player over the years so far with the bat.
Definitely, and she's being replaced by another player that's played in every edition of the competition for Middlesex, in Natasha Miles coming in. But that was a great captain's knock. She was patient at the beginning. She waited until she had the opportunity to punish some bowling that really came into her arc, and hopefully she has walked off feeling she set a platform for these two and any other teammates to really make the most of and see the girls home.
Here is Natasha Miles, my apologies, who did read my own writing, yeah, exactly, who did lead the side out in Middlesex's first appearance at Lords against the MCC, game that I commentated on. I remember interviewing Natasha at the end, and great day that was. Of course, the London Cup was to go to Lords in 2019. Heavily rain-affected day that was. Surrey were 28 for 3 at the end of their innings. Middlesex needing 26 from 5. The Duckworth-Lewis, and it was Miles who hit the winning runs. Oh, Beamer first up. Welcome to the game. No ball called by the umpire, just slipped out. Wiping away the palm of the hand, the fingers once more. Big smile from Miles. Yeah, I remember it was a monumental day that was at Lords, and you could see from Natasha, interviewed after the game, what it meant as well. It was high pressure.
Yeah, we got a really good crowd in that day, even though the rain affected a lot of things. We had a good couple of thousand come into the ground, and about 50% of them stayed till the end. So there was a lot of pressure on these girls to get those runs at the end, and it took some nerves of steel for Natasha and Lauren Bell, who was making her debut for Middlesex that day. So it was a lot to ask for her, but they got over the line. And to say, look, the Middlesex girls, and I know it from having played in one of the editions, they love playing in this match. It means a lot to them to be able to represent the county in fixtures like this, and hopefully Natasha will show her experience, shall we say.
Danny, I think you're done. Thanks for your help today. Good to see you again.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Good luck for the rest of the season, and make sure it's a win at Merchant Taylor School on home soil for Middlesex, at least in that game.
I'm hoping for one sooner than that, but thank you very much, Kevin.
Just meant that one in particular. Thanks, Danny. Danny Warren, who is the Sunrisers regional head of cricket. 90 for 2 here at Radlett from one Middlesex legend in a moment to another. So I was pushed back by Miles to mid-on, and 90 for 2 it remains. Miles on 1. Wide ball down the leg side, just pushed through on that occasion from Jones again, who was a absolute from Capsey, sorry, who was a star at the top with the bat. That one goes big into the onside, mid-wicket, and mid-on, heading around, but landing in between the two of those. It's going to be a couple more, 93 for 3. Yeah, one Middlesex legend to another. Welcome Sharon Ayres, the participation manager for Middlesex, responsible for all of the good work, not just some of it, all of the good work that Middlesex do in the communities across the county. Sharon, welcome to the commentary.
Thank you very much. Really good to be here. Especially when
nice
it looks
little
like
chop. I was going to say, yeah, exactly that. Nice little chop and a single taken, and especially because it looks like it's going to be a Middlesex win.
Definitely looks like it's going to be a Middlesex win, so a really good opportunity to be here tonight, and obviously a big shout out to all of our cricket clubs streaming tonight, and especially down to Crouch End, who are having a party, I believe, with some face masks of some of the players, so that's a good one for them.
Amazing. Swept hard, finding the deep square. I think about 2, might just settle on the 1. No, back they come. 96 for 2, just 29 to win here for Middlesex this evening, and as I say, it could be emphatic. This could be the biggest winning margin, certainly, but in the wickets column for Middlesex in the chases they've had over the years, and what will be a 6th win out of 7 in the London Cup. No run on that occasion. I was talking to Danny about the challenges that she's faced with COVID last year. For every part of every county of every club, the challenges have been great.
Yeah, it's been massive for our Middlesex clubs, all of them, not just our women's clubs, but all the men's clubs as well. We've had to work really hard to just keep them alive with getting them various grants, getting them some funding in, just to make sure that we didn't lose any. And touch wood, at the moment, we've not lost one club. So now we're getting back on target. It's fantastic, and really good to see these women playing who have come through our club system.
I was going to say, these are obviously, products of that system. Looking at the team, Gunnersbury has obviously pushed out a good few.
Yeah, they've definitely standout club there with 8 players in the Middlesex squad at the moment. But the really good news is that we're now getting players from a multitude of clubs, and I think that's really important going forward, that it just doesn't come from one club, and then it comes for every club in the county, and that's what we're after. Big aim to have a junior girls section in every club.
Gordon again from the pavilion end. Attempted steer down to 3rd, but fielded at backward points. 96 for 2. What's been the biggest challenge in the community's work that you do over the last year?
The biggest challenge, especially in the women's game at the moment, I mean, the numbers are going up playing. It's getting the women involved in being coaches and umpires and volunteers at clubs. That's our hardest challenge.
Top ball again to mid-wicket.
The stats are low there at the moment. We've really got to build on that. Sadly, it's only 8% of coaches in Middlesex are female. And less for that for umpires and scorers. So it's a big push over the next couple of years, and I'll work very closely with Carrie, who I've just met tonight for the first time. So
quick single taken to deep backward square and 97 for 2. Yeah, the work's been extensive. Is that because it's historical, really, obviously, the lack of opportunity over the years for women in the game? That obviously, in terms of age group now, where you'd look to coaches now, and a generation of coaches, that age group isn't there because of the lack of opportunities previously.
yeah, absolutely. In previous years, there wasn't the opportunity, especially when I was coming through the game as a coach myself. The opportunities weren't there at all, and I think we lost a whole generation. So
and
I think now,
the burgeoning women's team at the moment, in 10, 15 years' time, the coaching isn't going to be that same problem, but it doesn't mean that you can fill that gap easily now.
Yeah, the difficulty will be over the next couple of years, but I do see now with our youngsters coming through the club game, those 16-year-olds who know they can get a career in it now. So I think in 2-3 years' time, I think we'll see abundance of coaches and umpires and volunteers coming through, but we've just got to get through the next couple of years, I think, and then it will look really promising.
Top ball again into the offside. Just tightened it up a little bit here, Surrey, since the fall of Naomi Datani. But participation levels, crucially, that's the level that is the most important. The other levels aren't any significantly less important, but the crucial one is participation.
Yeah, participation's on the up. We've got more clubs playing in our leagues this year. So we have 2 leagues, the Esme Owen and Derek Morgan League, named after 2 prominent people.
Quick single to mid-off, nicely taken. Dive at the end, 100 up for Middlesex, 102 on the board and 25 to win for the hosts here at Radlett. End of the 15th here on the Middlesex Live Enhanced stream.
And then we follow that up with all of our junior leagues, up in numbers this year, the highest we've ever had playing the junior system. And obviously our 4-year plan, as I said earlier, was to have every male club that's got a junior section to have a genuine offer for girls cricket as well. So I think over the next 4 years we could see that go up to 70, 80 clubs. And we're sitting at nearly 50 at the moment, so not too bad, we're getting there.
For both age groups, the dropout age for players in their teens was one of the big factors, that players were there but they dropped out of the game. Is that still a factor?
Yeah, that's always still going to be a factor around that 15-year-old mark. I mean, I think in girls it's a little bit different because we tend to integrate them into women's cricket a little bit earlier than the men's game. So at 14, 15, we do push them into the women's squads. And so I think they stay a little bit longer, but they have to play at that adult level quicker because we wouldn't have the numbers to run like under 17s and under 19 girls. So
it's Cooper. Nicely bowled. The appeal's gone up, but nothing doing. Bales removed behind Carr, who's looking to chop away at it.
I think the good news is that, we'll get more and more clubs. I've taken 3 or 4 phone calls this week of new clubs who want to start up junior girls sections, so that's amazing. It's Women's Big Cricket Month this month, so we've put out a lot of profile this month with over about 180 events that we've organised over different things, including tonight has gone out on the airwaves. So the profile's raising constantly all the time, and I think that will show us dividends, like I said, in the next 2 or 3 years.
That's the single out steep cover for Carr. Middlesex ticking along. 101 for 2. Carr moves to 22. Well, that's the key, isn't it? That strategy, that marketing strategy to reach. I was talking to Danny a little earlier about it all, the way that obviously the IPL kind of forged the way for everybody in not only cricket but sport, I think, around the world. In that the way that they strategically and digitally went after kids through the devices that they have and reaching them through those devices was a big part of getting the interest going. Oh, put down at mid-off. Sharp chance, which was ever dropping at mid-off, but Kerrin's just not quite able to hold on against. We've mentioned that mound out there where they are fielding at mid-off. Even there, still noticing that mound up to the square. A nicely run single in response after the attempted big shot from Carr and the lifeline given.
No, I think the 100's going to be good this year. I'm really interested to see if that plays a big part in getting more junior girls. I'm really looking forward to that.
How's that going at this stage for participation? Because I'd imagine the build-up's begun already in the promotion. Swung away. Sun in the eyes of long on, but well short of Gray in terms of a catch. Just the single. 4 miles. 104 for 2. In terms of, obviously it's been heavily promoted and endorsed. Is that filtering through already, or is that going to happen in a big bang event really at the start of the competition for participation in community level sport?
I think it's filtering through already. We're well over halfway towards our targets for the summer for girls in the All-Star and Dynamo programme. But Middlesex have got about 40 camps running in the summer. And so a lot of our build-up will be as that 100 hits that those 40 camps will start. And, shout out to every young girl who wants to get involved. All-Stars and Dynamos all summer. Just check our website out.
And they'll be playing 100 at that point?
Yeah, the All-Stars will be playing countdown cricket, which is similar, but they'll play 60 balls and downwards rather than 100. So 60 balls, countdown.
Low full toss, swept away hard into the onside. Nice pick-up shot. There's a dive at the last. In vain, though, out there from Kerrins. And 107 for 2 it is. 18 more to win. It was Miles that hit the winning run in the last Middlesex victory back in 2019, looking to get back on the winning ways in the London Cup after last year's win for Surrey at the Oval. Guided nicely after the boundary, just the single down to third. 109 for 2. That and around the grounds, will kids see and experience the 100 in terms of it will be something that's noticeable while they're participating this summer? It's something within the grounds and within the clubs that they'll see?
Well, we're hoping so, because obviously the first game that's going to be televised on BBC is the women's game, which is fantastic, and we'll be showcasing that to all clubs and try and get them to put it on their TVs in the clubs and have a party night over that, because it is the first game going out. And on BBC, which is fantastic. I mean, not everybody has Sky Sports. I don't even have Sky Sports. And I work in the job, so there are many kids who won't see it. But that first game on BBC was going to be amazing.
Yeah, and the women's game that night has the airwaves all to themselves, don't they? The Oval Invincibles at the Oval. Chipped away into the offside, just fine, a backward point, opening the face. Miles, they've come back for the second. This could be tight. I think there's a fumble at the stumps. Otherwise, Miles pretty much has gone by a long margin on that one. The big dive looked as though it came in too late. Just skinned the elbow slightly on her as well. But, the game pretty much gone from Surrey anyway at this stage. But they'll be disappointed. Middlesex were pretty tidy and pretty efficient in the field. No real chances missed or put down. Not too many misfields. Surrey haven't been guilty of much themselves. Datani's brilliance really taking this game away from Surrey. But of course at the last they'll want to keep those skill levels to a high. Nicely stroked, but just fingertips off her own bowling to prevent the single. Yeah, it's the Wednesday night, isn't it? It's the first game, I think. It's the inaugural, is it the Thursday? And then the men's team play the Oval Invincibles the following night. So centre stage on the first innings, which is a very clever and crucial move, I think.
I think that's really clever by the ECB. We need to get that out there if we're going to prove that the women's game is equal. I think we need those bold moves by everybody.
Low full toss again. Clipped to deep square, single taken, 113 for 2. And 12 more to win for Middlesex. With 3 overs to go here on the Middlesex Live and Enhanced stream at Radlett in the London Cup. Yeah, the kick that is hoped that the 100 gives, I guess you'll be one of those who'll feel it first.
Well, we're hoping we're going to feel it first. Like you say, we've as a participation team have planned for this. We've split our season, like I said, with our All Stars and Dynamos programme. We've split that to not do everything in the front half of the season. We want the 100 to kick in, and then as kids go, wow, I want to play that, Middlesex will still have 40 or 50 camps that we as staff are running all around the county where there's places where there's no traditional cricket clubs, and that's crucial to us in London because we have so many boroughs where there's no traditional cricket clubs. So as a team, we have to work really hard to offer cricket locally. Otherwise, it's a postcode lottery for girls and boys sometimes.
Yeah. What's the biggest way of addressing that postcode lottery? Cage cricket and street cricket were some of the big launches, having grown up in inner city myself. That was something for me where cricket wasn't played at school. So accessing it through non-traditional ways was key for me.
Absolutely, those non-traditional ways are crucial to our game.
Quick single just fine of mid-wicket for Miles. They're going to turn it into 2. It's sharp running by Middlesex here at the end. They're really looking to put the pressure on Surrey in the field, which nearly brought the downfall of Miles in the last over, but it looked as though it was a given one, that, or an accepted single, but very sharp work from Carr. 15 now for Mills.
I think if we can get the message out there for young players anywhere, just go to our website, have a look, and it will show you everywhere we're running, from muggers to parks to recreational grounds, you name it. There'll be a centre somewhere for you to access.
Yeah, as I say, for me, it was just those initiatives that back when I was a kid, they were only just growing, really, but now it is something that's being pushed really hard.
Well, you've got the added, All Stars and Dynamos. I keep talking about those youngsters coming through. We've obviously got street cricket, which is 9 to 14-year-olds, and then that's 16 to 25, so that they can access, which we do play in cages and parks, with the tennis ball with the tape on. Everybody loves that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was all fun, and it's all cricket. And I guess the same for the marketing as well, whether it's because they saw the 100 on TV or because Middlesex is at their local club, or Surrey's at their local club. Whatever the marketing, whatever the banner, it's just getting the kids into cricket is the key thing, whoever the banner they're coming into cricket under. Again, good pressure put on the field from Middlesex as Jones came around. Single taken for Carr.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Middlesex is so unique. Very unique county. Like I said, we have a lack of traditional clubs in some of our boroughs. Try the game.
It's a nice shot down the ground. 4 more for Middlesex. 121 for 2. 4 to win. And Miles moves to 22. Fabulous little cameo this. The finisher role for Miles to see it home for Middlesex. Quick single. Something Middlesex have done well here, dropping the singles after the boundaries. They really have kept this scoreboard ticking well. And 122 4-2. And for Middlesex as a club, heading to a 6th win in 7 games in the London Cup against Surrey. That's a mighty achievement.
That is more than mighty. That's amazing. Against our old enemy. Absolutely love to see this, and this will be a good sign going out on the streaming tonight. So really big thank you to Middlesex Cricket for putting the women's game out there so we could get that to every club and get them streaming. Looking forward to the figures later to see how many have tuned in to watch, and we look to do more of this as we go forward.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. My daughter was along to watch the game tonight and was absolutely over the moon here watching it this evening. So hopefully I've hooked her.
Let's get her in. Let's get her in. How old is she?
She's going 7 next month.
Perfect. She'll look great in an all-star top.
Miles gets the single to mid-off. 2 to win. These two have been wonderful between the wickets, haven't they? 123 4-2. One of the classic ways, of course, that it was done, using another sport as an example, was Manchester City. When Malcolm Allison was the manager of Manchester United, had all the fans, it was just going to the schools and giving out free tickets to fill up Main Road back then. Of course, the world's moved on a little bit from that now, hasn't it? That's swept away. This could be the winning runs for Middlesex. Is it going to go all the way? It is. And there they are. And Carr's done it. Moves to 29, 127 for 2. Middlesex win by 8 wickets here at Radlett. And something of a trouncing as the winning runs hit in the 19th over. A 6 win in 7 matches in the London Cup for Middlesex, and celebrations on the sidelines there. Really has been a strong performance. Tony Warren and I weighing up that first innings. Just how good a score the Surrey Innings was for this match. 124 for 7. We fancied that it would be pretty tight all the way through, one way or the other. Neither side would feel massively out of it, but Batani's 50, the real decisive factor in this game. Strong from the top from the Middlesex captain. Carr following up well, keeping that partnership going, and then the finishing job done by Natasha Miles with Carr at the end. But nice that Carr, who shared so much of that partnership with Tani, to hit the winning runs, and a really special effort from them. Special effort with the ball from Kopak as well, 3 for 27. And Gaitari goal with 2 for 19. Wicket apiece as well for Kajipra and for Thorpe. Standout performance with the bat from Tatani, but overall a really strong display all around from Middlesex, who can now reflect on that first innings and the restriction of Surrey and this run chase and say that overall that was a very, very successful execution in all areas tonight from Middlesex.
That was amazing to be part of that and to get the women streamed out, especially tonight. All the clubs watching at home, to see Middlesex bring it home. A professional performance, restricted runs. Naomi leading from the front to get 50, but that running at the end was excellent. You know, not to just rely on the big shots, hit a 4, then drop the ball and run. It's just professional, and young girls all around the county watching that. That's a good advert for women's cricket tonight. It
was an excellent advert because, again, it was the 19th over. Even though it was a 8-wicket win, Middlesex had to time that chase well, and it did require that little kick at the end there for Miles to make sure that Datani's effort was seen home, because, as we said all the way through that first innings as well, there was always going to be the chance for a fight back on a score like that. The late wickets, runs could be hard to come by, and it could be a tight chase at the end, but Middlesex did see it home, and it was a very well manoeuvred game of cricket from both throughout. Surrey will know that in the end, ultimately, they were probably 20 or 30 light. That'll have come from those 3 ducks early on. Those 3 early wickets really putting the pressure on, which meant that Jones's innings was so vital, but at 31 for 3, then that wicket maiden as well at 35 for 4. That probably for Surrey, that slow start there, requiring the recovery, was probably the difference between setting something match-winning or more defendable than what they did. But nonetheless, it was a decent first innings total, but it made Middlesex work for it, and work for it they did. But Tatani's effort was something quite special, I have to say.
Yeah, she definitely led from the front there. Amazing innings, majours and captaincy. She led that team. The fielding was excellent tonight. The field placing was excellent. And then Naomi, after captaining that type of innings, and come out and bat was amazing. And I'm really pleased that we got all to see that on streaming tonight. And I hope the clubs appreciated that. And again, you know, last one for me, big shout out to the clubs. Hope you enjoyed it. Fantastic win.
Oh, that's not a final big shout. I'm going to put you on the spot now. A couple of signposts for those tuned in for the coming weeks ahead of things that people can look out for in the communities with participation from Middlesex? What are the key events and dates in the coming weeks and months for those who want to get involved that aren't involved already, or those who are partially involved?
Yeah, I mean, keep an eye out. So for all those youngsters, please go to our Middlesex website, go to the participation section and find out about all those camps that we're running over the summer that are going to be tied into the 100. We want more and more young girls and boys to get involved this summer. Also, from our point of view, just from the Middlesex clubs, we've got our own very big rep game coming up. So from the Esme Irwin League and the Derek Morgan League, we've taken the best players from that league and we're going to play the MCC at Richmond on the 9th of July. So please come down and watch if you want to see another good game of women's cricket. MCC are putting out a strong side. So we're looking forward to that as another way of raising the profile of women's cricket.
Best way to access all the information via the Middlesex website?
Middlesex website all the way. Everything's on there. And check out our Twitter feed. We put everything through our Twitter feed.
So everything's going to be pummeled digitally marketed. That's the key for the future, isn't it?
It is the way of the future. I'm getting used to it myself.
That's all right. You delegate those things.
Absolutely. I've got some young staff.
Superb stuff. Thanks so much. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Real pleasure to be here for the London Cup this evening. It was a superb performance by Middlesex for this victory. Sharon Ayres, thank you for your time and joining us. Thank you as well to Danny Warren. Much appreciated your company this evening. But a big performance by Middlesex. A fine fight back by Surrey, with Jones with that 42 and White with 26, pushing that total on of 124 for 7. Those 3 wickets for Kopak, though. Being the standout display with the ball, the standout display with the bat was quite clear for Middlesex. Datani with her second 50 in these 7 London Cup matches, really seeing Middlesex home, the skipper. Thanks very much for your company this evening. Been a real pleasure to be here at Radlett. We'll wrap up here in the commentary tent with a victory by quite the margin for Middlesex as they win this one by 8 wickets. They took the scoreboard down. It was 2 down at the end.